All right, welcome to the reverse engineering document. If you decide to listen to this 17-page paper presentation, you're going to learn some things about reverse engineering that you did not know. And among the things you learn, you're probably going to get the guide map on how you can start to reprogram your subconscious scripts and get out of your own way, because that's the worst thing that happens in our life. Is the only reason we're not where we want to be is because we have chosen to be where we are. And a lot of change, you're standing in your own way. Like, nobody's stopping you from doing anything you want to do in your life. So I'm going to give you some real life takeaway here with some timers, some meditations, some scripts that you can play when you sleep at night. Because what you got to realize with your subconscious and creating anything is that if you're standing in your own way, getting out of your own way is the hardest part. Like, knowing the right thing to do is not hard. Anybody can tell somebody, go do these things. But choosing to do those things is where it gets really hard. So the first thing I want you to start off with here is, the saying, time flies when you're having fun. I'm sure you've heard of this before, but if you ever stop to ask where the saying comes from, it's just a thought that's been passed down without question from generation to generation, or is it something more? And when you look into this, there's a little research document right here called Dopamine, Time, and Impulsivity in Humans, which means time flies when you're having fun, or time flies when you're a piece of shit. I don't know if you've ever heard that one before, but I thought that was funny when I heard it once. And this is very true. Dopamine removes our subjective sense of time. This is why when somebody's playing video games, 5, 6, 7 hours of time could have passed. Like, wow, like time just flew. Yes, it did, because you were having fun, you were enjoying yourself, and you were producing dopamine. Now think about time goes slow when your dopamine is low. That's a good thing, because if time's always flying and you're always having fun, you might not be doing the things in your life that you need to do, aka The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. Some finite things, like I need to send an invoice after this video I'm recording. Do I want to do that? No. Is that going to be super fun to send? No. At first, when you start sending your invoices out, super fun. But after a while, you're like, oh, another invoice for another amount of money, and you're just going to keep the train going. So time goes slow when your dopamine is low. That's where, like, at 4:30 on a weekend, or 4:30 on a Friday. Sorry, people don't work weekends. I do. 4:30 on a Friday, somebody's really like, ugh, man, it's taken forever. Like that last 15 minutes before you get off work. One, you're paying attention to time, but that doesn't make time go slower when you're staring at it. It's simply just dopamine. And then the person that's at 4:30 that hates their job on a Friday, that's why time is going so slow, because their dopamine is low. If you read this document all the way through, you will learn things about change you were previously unaware of. Then you may decide to alter the course of your life as a result of what you learned. You will learn to live a better life because of the decisions you've made. They're your decisions to change the things that you considered changing. Sorry, I might fumble some of the words in here. There's a lot of words in this document. I have not proofread this, so we're doing this on the fly. You're more than welcome to read through it if you don't want to listen to me butcher some sentences, but I'm definitely going to give you a little bit more takeaway whenever I feel like there's some more context that I can add into this. You're only convincing yourself that the habits you have now are better than the ones that you're about to create. Don't be the person who has an idea but does not follow through with it. The worst thing to regret in life is failing to act despite having the resources, time, and energy to do so. So I'd like you to check out this document right here. There's a lot of cool documents on NCBI. They're not all about medical journals. There's a lot about neuroscience, the way that the brain works, conscious reality, perceptions, illusions. If you've ever read through that CIA document, there's a lot of backfill on this page of the things that they speak of there with the way that you're perceiving reality right now. So, seems like there's a lot more to our perception than we think. This document will teach you the exact pattern interrupt required for all great things. All great things take time and energy to create space. It's all it is a proper investment of your time. You're receiving energy or giving energy to somebody else, and hopefully you're both trying to create the same space in which you wish to exist. It's the same thing. Like if you're in the reset button program and you want to learn how to do the microgreens, all you have to do is take the time, resonate around the energy to create the space. So take your time to watch the videos, learn how to do it yourself, create the space, do it, go sell it. Congratulations. Nothing in life is hard. Everything is simple once you understand the steps to get there. It is just based on time, the proper investment of energy to create the space. Without an understanding of the mechanics, you cannot create. There's no such thing as manifesting whatever nonsense someone's trying to feed your mind. And you don't manifest a proper education on the topics you want to become best at. There are actions and reactions. You must have a very specific action in mind, or there's a high likelihood you will wander around the world without a purpose. All actions in the universe are the same. You just add your personality to them. And think about this, like there's plenty of people out there that coach people on health. It's just the personality that the person has that may or may not attract a person to what they're doing. Sometimes my personality might push people away. Somebody might be needing somebody to, give them a baba and some milk. You might need to find that person out there in the universe. All of the things that you're going to run into are usually the same unless somebody is creating a unique idea, which we'll talk about unique ideas down below. One person teaching health is the same as another unless they're creating something unique that has never existed. I don't know how many people you've talked to in the health niche that have taught you about dopamine, time, and impulsivity, but that's where like we go to eating our foods that we want. Dopamine, yummy, food, feedback loop, not good. So the lack of subjectivity robs you of the ability to control your conscious outcomes. So when you gain control of dopamine, you gain control of time. When there's no conscious control, the subconscious takes over. How many years have you, oh, sorry, my bad. How many years have you taken to guarantee that your subconscious mind produces the reality that you seek? That's a very big question. Like my mind smoothie was absolute garbage. When we set out to create our ideal life, we must keep in mind that dopamine is a trap. Like if you're only doing things that are fun, you're going to get trapped somewhere in life doing things that are only fun. And you got to do a lot of things you don't want to do to get to where you want to be. And a lot of those things that you're going to do aren't going to be that fun. I'll tell you, some days I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to do anything today, but I have to do the things that I don't want to do to get to where I want to be, or you never actually get there. If everybody was able to wake up and just absolutely do all of the things that they love to do, the world would probably be a much better place. So now there is no available cheat code. If you're looking for a cheat code, stop reading. Go find somebody else that's going to sell you on some sort of delusion where, yeah, just click this button 5 times and you're a millionaire. Yeah, it doesn't work like that nowadays. So space is equal to time plus energy. Once you understand the value of this equation, you will become limited only by your thoughts. Once you understand change, and a better way to understand change is through weight loss. Consider the amount of time you've been overweight multiplies the amount of time it will take to lose the weight. Consider your thoughts to be a simple weight pulling your consciousness towards a specific action. When a person struggles with their weight, their thoughts lead them to unhealthy actions, which lead them to an unhealthy place. Consider the gravity concept. What drew you to these words? Like something about life has brought you this far. Why are you there? Like, have you ever been thinking, like, what are the steps that I've been taking in my life? What did I do last week? What did I do last month? Why am I actually here? It's very important. Somebody's either taking some shit away from you or giving something to you. And I hope they're giving something to you because you don't want to be on the internet around the wrong people, taking you to the wrong place with wrong words. Not fun. The distinction between here and there is nothing more than what is already present, but it might be hidden from view. Like you're able to create the world that you want, you just might not know exactly how to do it. So remember, it's not what you see, it's what you know about what you see because that's how you feel. Only you know what you want out of life, and the only way you're going to get it is if you tell everybody that you want it. Remember, people are only going to know what you're willing to tell them about yourself. If someone has no idea you run a marketing agency, how are they going to ask you to run their ads? Like, think about that. If you have ever done something, you can hear that somebody is like, oh, that person does this. Well, I want this. Let's find out if they're the right fit. If people don't know you, they can't buy from you. That's like the 10x stuff that's up in the books above. So if someone has no idea you run a company that tests genetics and write diet plans, how are they ever going to get their genetics tested for a diet plan? Do you see? Simple. Like you now know I test DNA and write diet plans just by saying that. I have a marketing agency. Now you know I have a marketing agency. I run a health and wellness business. I have a coaching program. I coach people. You now know all of these things so you can start to understand and identify whether or not you're actually in the right place. So think about it this way. I have 800K followers on TikTok as I write this document. Think about the process of engineering here. I create a TikTok, people watch it, they may or may not go to the website, they may or may not traffic to one of these pages, they may or may not listen to the videos, they may or may not read these documents. And by the way, I can tell you anybody that's ever read the documents said these are amazing. And that's not to gloat or be whatever, that's just to be factual. Most people will be like, what do I eat? What do I do? Well, go look at all the resources we've created for free, aka a resource like this, a 17-page paper and probably an hour-long video that's going to leave you in a better place. So after they read these documents, they may or may not book a call. They also may or may not join the reset button program. The entire goal here is to avoid wasting time answering mundane questions. I don't want to ignore people who ask questions. However, when they ask the same question, I must create resources to solve these problems on a massive scale. So this is why you see all of these documents. I get asked the same question hundreds of times over and over. So I'll create a 20-page PDF, a 38-page PDF, a 40-page PDF, a 17-page paper. This entire page that you're watching these videos on is created out of the understanding that most people's mindsets are not in the right place for them to support improvements in health and improvements in their wealth, because money is not hard to get. The only reason it's meaningful to you is because you don't have it. And then once you have it, you realize it's just a tool to do things. So this is where you learn that even if you create the solution to someone's problems, someone would rather live in their emotions than solve their problems. I was one of those people who created every single problem that I have. So when I tell you the only reason that problems exist are because you want those problems to exist, you should take a second and be like, wait a minute. So the only reason that there's any problems in reality at all is because I want them. Yes, that is my 100% unchangeable answer. Every problem that I had, I created by my lack of care or whatever issues I had with my understanding. Right words take you to the right place. Wrong words take you to the wrong place. You're going to hear that repeated in this document a couple of times. So I want you to push. Blah, 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 blah. So boom, and their emotions. I want you to push that type of person away because they're just going to eat all of your time. Like when somebody's emotionally reacting with you, you're not going to get through to them. Like when somebody's angry, upset, there's like fear going on, there are no logic present at all. Whatever you're talking is going to go voop out the other ear, and you're just going to be stuck in the same place where they're constantly circling the arguments, and just you're not getting anywhere in life. I can tell you for a fact, I sit on TikTok live majority of the day. I'm on TikTok live while I record this video, and there are people that emotionally interact with their phones. I don't want to talk to you. No, thank you. I'm here to solve a specific problem. I have a finite amount of time to be alive, and if I'm the right fit for you, we'll figure that out. That's how the world works. So protecting your time and energy is a key to all great success. So this right here is an example of me trying to do my best to help you understand that whatever it is that you want to create, you can in fact create, because no one is standing in your way except yourself. I promise you that if you decide to put yourself out there on the internet, you will find thousands of people who are asking the same questions over and over, which there's literally hundreds of thousands of people that want to improve the quality of their life on a daily basis. And the more you put yourself out there, the more opportunity you have to find those people who are looking for that information. So boomity, boomity, boom, internet over here. And then, oh yeah, so put yourself on the internet. They'll ask you the same questions over and over. That's why I build these documents. It is not a bad thing. However, you need to streamline the process to make sure that the questions have answers. We'll give you answers in the forms of documents and books. So there's no way you couldn't find the solution to the problem that you presented. Like I'm trying to consciously keep track of all of the things that I needed that didn't exist when I needed them. And now I create them for you. So remember, you can do anything you want to do. Just read like 50 books on a topic, and you can see what you actually don't know and what you already know. And when you start to read these books, you'll recognize that some of the books are going to repeat themselves. So you're like, okay, I can probably say that that's valid. Let me go try that. Okay, that actually works. Now, anytime that that's mentioned in another book, that's good. That's an indicator of this is the correct information, because how do you know what's wrong until you know what's right? And even when you learn what's right, you may still think it's wrong because what was wrong to you, you've been living off of, so you believe it's right. I'm only speaking from my perspective. Literally, every answer that I had about life was wrong. 100% wrong. Everything I knew about money, wrong. Health, wrong. Mindset, wrong. Everything. My emotions, wrong. And I'm okay with being invalidated. I'm okay with conceding my reality to someone that might have better answers than me. Because I'm still there. I just got better answers to do better things. So you'll find out that you will find out what you don't know, which allows you to focus on the areas that you need to improve. Like the things that I know I'm bad at, I now can improve on it. So when someone says, you suck at this, thank you so much. Now I can fix that problem. So your haters only make you a better person. And sometimes your haters are just your haters because they hate, either or. All right, so let's begin. Reverse engineering is a process of understanding how a device, system, or software works by studying its structure and function, usually with the goal of improving or reproducing it. It involves extracting information about the system, creating a model based on that information, and reviewing the model to ensure its accuracy, which is like the entire program that we have. So reverse engineering can be used in a variety of purposes. Again, a variety of purposes, such as updating obsolete technology, analyzing security vulnerabilities, or learning how something operates. This process typically consists of 3 steps: information extraction, modeling, and review. So, when it comes down to this, you're extracting information from the world around you, you're creating a model of how your life should be, and then you're reviewing the information that you decided to act on. So, like, remember, if you know the right thing to do and you don't do the right thing, that's confusing. So, extract more information, create a better model, use that model, and then look back. So, I look back on myself through this whole year and I said, yeah, I couldn't have done a single thing better than I already did. And I'm sure there's probably things that I could have done, but I worked literally every single day, all day long. I took like 2 breaks. I think there's only 2 things that I could have done differently, and that was not got on an airplane, fly to meet somebody, because that messed up my schedule. I probably wasted like a week of work. So I definitely know that I wasted at least probably 2 weeks of time this year by, trying to find my partner, which eventually I'm sure they'll come somewhere. Who knows? I have no idea. So before attempting this process, please seek medical profession. So find somebody that's like totally cool with you doing this stuff. Talk to your therapist. I am not a doctor. I am not your PCP. I am just a random person on the internet that is teaching you things that I have found in books and research papers that I have applied to my own life, and it has changed dramatically or dramatically or whatever word somebody wants to use over there. You have to remove everything from your life that produces dopamine and replace it with something new. All of the things that used to produce dopamine for me were completely useless time sucks for reality that just took me to a worse place. Can't even tell you how bad of a place I was in. It's insane. Just imagine eating flaming hot Cheetos, drunk in a bar, high on drugs in the bathroom of people that are doing cocaine off of a toilet. And you're just sitting in there eating flaming hot Cheetos. Yeah, that's a really good place to be, isn't it? Now, all right, so remove dopamine, something new. Not only is this a challenge, but you will probably experience depression and anxiety along the way. Like if you're genuinely realizing that your life is not where you want it to be, and all of your friends are people that are just, randomly just living off of dopamine, change is going to be very hard. Your friends aren't going to like you. You're going to have a little bit of problems. If you've never cold called before, if you've never spoken up about the things that you believe in, it might produce anxiety. But you know what? Who cares? You're going to be a better person because of it. And that's why we gave you the anxiety document. It cannot be created nor destroyed, only converted from one form into another. So it's time you use anxiety to expand the quality of your life. You're going to feel it anyways. So you might as well use it to make a better reality for yourself. So on this journey, you may run into feelings called the imposter syndrome. And this is very real. I actually had a person ask me about this last week. They said, if it feels like I feel uncomfortable asking for this money. And I'm like, yeah, so did I when I first started. When I first pitched my first $3,000, I thought I was going to poop my pants. Whenever they said yes, I was so happy. But now I realize after, $3,000, $3,000, $3,000, it's not the dopamine release anymore. Like when I first started all this stuff, woo, a little bit delusional, but super happy. That's all that mattered. And then as time goes on, you will get better at these things. So imposter syndrome or imposterism is a psychological condition in which a person doubts their abilities, talents, or accomplishments and experiences a persistent internalized fear as being exposed as a fraud. There were so many times in my life where I was like, do I really know better? And then like when I first started doing all this like program, I was like, oh, I really hope this stuff works for everybody and they get it. Like I do it, it works for me. So I hope it works for everybody else. And now we're over that hill. We've got plenty of people that have changed the entire quality of their lives. So I am no longer afraid of those things. But when I first started, I always had this weird feeling like I really try to do my best. Like I try to be as honest as possible. I try to give everybody as much resources as I possibly can, just because I know what the internet's like. Random video. Yeah, I want to make $1 million. Well, give me your name, number, and email. Watch this 45-minute long video where we just convince you that this is the way to do it. And then you fail and then they don't teach you anything. And then you're back where you started. So it sucks. So this is a horrible feeling, but it will happen if you follow the instructions I'm about to give you. If you've never earned $20,000 a month and now do, you might feel like a fraud. People might think you're running a scam because the concept is so foreign to them. Like think about online programs. People out there literally think they're scams. Some of them are just recreated information, but come on. When we have this many coaches in a program, how's it a scam? How is learning how to grow your own food a scam? I leave that up to the people that think it's a scam to just circulate inside of their own little brain smoothie of gook and just pour it out and just create a better reality. Those are some nasty gook cookies. So people might think you're running a scam, blah, 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 blah. So it gets interesting when you find the solutions to your problems you've been having for the past 20 years and realizing that those problems were you lying to yourself. Like, it's interesting when you find out that the only reason you've had problems is because you've been lying to yourself. Like New Year's is here. That's a little delusional for most people. Oh, new year, new me. Nope, new year, same you, just consciously aware of some of the bad subconscious programs you had. And if you don't actually put the mechanics into play, you never change it. Doesn't work like that. Once you're an adult, you don't magically change your reality. Your brain is done cooking at some point in time, and your neuroplasticity ain't all there anymore. So problems don't exist. You only believe they do. It seems surreal that you don't have to deal with those issues anymore, but it is a reality for those who seek it. This will be much more difficult than you could have imagined, but if you decide to change, you will thank yourself 5 years from now. So I'll tell you that the single person who has nothing to lose will find this process the most simple. I can also tell you that there are people that have families that can still manage their time properly. How much time do you spend watching the TV show when you maybe should have went exercise? I don't know. Only you do. When you have nothing to lose, you have everything to gain. Which for me, change was so simple because I literally had nothing to lose. I had nothing. I was dumb. I knew nothing. I was poor. So everything to me was just like, whoa, I never knew that, never knew that, never knew that. And then I just tried it all. So if a person has like a six-figure earning job that they're unhappy with, and they have a family to take care of, they have bills, they have all this extra crazy stuff, it's a lot harder for them to change their life because they have to consciously change it. You can't just go be poor and live in your car. Maybe you can. I don't suggest it, but I did it for 6 months. Definitely a fun experience. That was probably when I felt the happiest because I didn't have attachments to anything around me. So this process will be difficult depending on how long you've been living the lifestyle you want to change. It took me 9 months to stop eating Flamin' Hot Cheetos, even when I had sufficient information through personal trial and error that these in fact made me feel sick. If you give up, you only fail yourself. The universe does not care, only you do. And then, to be honest, no one does. And there's a small chance, sorry, I like to reiterate here, but then I realized the writing is the next thing that I was going to say. There's a small chance that you find someone in the world who is also seeking the same secrets as you. Depending on what you're trying to do, it may be a very lonely path. And you might want to give up every single day. I ask my mentor, I'm like, do you ever just wake up some days and you don't want to do any of this? And you're just out of me. He's like, every single day. And then I just laugh and say, great. The loneliness might kick in. And if it doesn't, you might want to consider separating yourself away from people's thoughts a little bit more. Like the last person that I had to get rid of in my life, that was a person that, let me see, I'm going to put this highlight right here. So boopity boop, considering a little more. Boom, we left off there. The last person that was in my life that I had to get rid of was somebody that I was only friends with because they went to the bar, they played video games, they slept around, they had a shitty job, they had all of the terrible traits and qualities that I used to have. Therefore, that's why we were friends. We lived on a specific vibrational resonance with each other. Therefore, we saw the reality the same way, so we could justify spending time and energy around each other because we both existed in the same space. When I kicked that person out, they shattered the windshield in my car and slashed two of my tires. And I said, cool, joke's on you because I got plenty of money. And all I did was just call a place and said, hey, my car's here. Can you guys tow it? And then I think it was like $1,800 inspection, everything that needed to be placed, and just wrote the check, said, here you go, have a great day. So once you realize, one, the people that you're around might not be that good for you, because when you decide to change, it's going to piss a lot of people off because they're going to realize, depending on where you've come from. I've come from the place of absolute poverty, terrible, horrible people, just drug addicts, just worst possible life you could imagine. So when you decide to change and they don't, that's when it starts to kick in. When it's like, hey man, you need to like go live on your own. You haven't paid rent for 3 months and it's time to just leave. Old me would have definitely kept that person around. New me said, yeah, fuck that, get out. And then they're unhappy and they do whatever they do. And was that really a friend? Like, think about that. Like, are your friends really your friends, or are they just people that you've around and now you guys see reality the same way? For me, everybody that I was friends with was somebody that I never wanted to be friends with ever again, nor talk to after I decided to properly educate myself. So the deeper you go into your own mind, the more you'll begin to understand it. The most important part is to know where you're going. So the worst feeling is getting somewhere you wanted to go only to realize you didn't have all the information you needed to get there in the first place. In layman's terms, if you don't believe you need to start a business to become financially free because everyone tells you need to start a business to become financially free. Learn so you can earn the life that you want to live. You're the only one who's going to be living it. So to speak into, the worst feeling you're going to be is getting somewhere without the correct information, that's very real. Like a lot of people, like I thought keto was a good diet. So I did that one. Then I was like, wait a minute, there's a gut microbiome and I'm not eating enough fiber. Okay. All right. That's a real thing. So like, remember, learn, learn so you can earn. And what my advice would be, like, take all next year and just inform yourself, read books, Stop trying to be like everybody else who thinks that today they need to just blow up and everything's going to work without the pre-existing education. If you don't have the mindset to support the money that you're going to make, it'll never happen. If you don't have the mindset to change your health, it'll never happen. The mindset is the most important part because the mind is just a set understanding of actions and reactions. And when something happens in the world, the way that you react to it should be replaced with how you respond to it. Take a second, analyze, know whether you actually know or not, and don't suffer from Dunning-Kruger effect. This document will teach you a simple process that will allow you to change any aspect of your life if you follow it. Would you change everything if every change required the same amount of effort? I think you would, right? But once you realize that it's the same every single way, shape, and form, then you know how change is so simple. And then you can literally change anything. The hardest part of change is just not doing what you used to do that you don't want to do anymore, because those subconscious scripts are real. I'm here to tell you that all of the changes you seek are the same. You are here and wish to be there. This method can be followed by anyone without fail. It's as easy as letting go of the thoughts that you've been taught to think and allowing new ones to take their place. This is where things start to get a little depressing. Imagine knowing that you're in a great place of suffering and there's nothing you can do but watch your life gradually improve. And for me, this was like, about to teach you with the timers here. For me, this was really recognizing, oh my God, I'm living in a friend's basement. I sleep all weekend because I'm so depressed. I get up to go pee so I don't piss my bed, and I eat garbage. And I go spend my time with people that don't give a shit about me. Like, that was a real hard thing to recognize. Like, wow, I had no self-love. That's the key indicator for me. I didn't have self-love. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know how to respect my time and energy at all. Like, I'm sitting on my live and I pause here just to like address some stuff. And I literally told a person, hey, your answers to your questions are here. And then someone will reply, people want to hear it from you live. That's too bad. There's information out there for everybody to go get their answers. I don't go live to answer questions that we've created 20, 30 page PDFs for. And most people that are trying to improve the quality of their life will respect that. Everybody else that is wandering energy in the universe will not respect that. That's another key indicator that you're going to learn about protecting your energy. If somebody doesn't want to go read, then okay, great. See you later. Bye. Have a beautiful reality. So often they say that the journey is more important than the destination. And I can assure you that this is absolutely true. You may be dissatisfied with the amount of money you make, but if you're in our program, you now have the tools to change that. So the only reason you stay dissatisfied is because you truly don't want to change your life. There will be many occasions when you will be angry because you do not have what you want to have. And that happens a lot. Like, some of the worst people that you're ever going to meet in your life are not where they want to be in life because they're angry at the world. And then once you recognize, oh, yeah, I can easily be there if I want to be there. And every problem has a solution. I just haven't learned it yet. So the people that are where they want to be, they don't have time to sit around and be angry or discuss nonsense. You will realize that. And it doesn't mean they're mean. It doesn't mean they're angry. It doesn't mean that they're not a good person. It's just simply, okay, this person clearly gets it. Like, I love talking to other people who do what they love because it's like the best conversation that you're ever going to have with somebody. The energy is there and you can feel it. So I will tell you that I have yet to take a second to reflect on how many people's lives I've impacted because of the years of information I have left to create. You can be the next person who changes their life because of this information if you want. There's no secret except for following the path that has been created for you. As with weight loss, some goals take days, weeks, months, or even years to achieve. The most important aspect is to recognize that the change you seek will occur and it is in fact possible. Look, you're already reading a document about improving your life. You're literally already on the steps there. Like, I can tell you, I would have never listened to something like this. I would have never read something like this. I was lost as hell. You're already on the path to having the life that you want to live. Most people won't spend the time nor the money to improve their lives. I was one of them. Somebody was like, hey, I was like, nope, just going to eat garbage and play video games. They will make up excuses to remain the same. I made up every excuse. I can't, or that's too hard. Yeah, I was an excuse factory. Just excuse. Lots of excuses. You won't see the life you seek until many years into the future when you reminisce back. There's simple changes that you can apply to your life, which are going to solve little problems like money. But then there's big complex changes that you have to find fulfillment and happiness from. Someone from the program sent me a message the other day and told me they were making $8,500 a month. I had no idea that this person was even in my program. Another person lost 90 pounds, read 115 books, said the information saved their life. You're more than welcome to celebrate these parts of reality, but I simply choose not to because I know that this is the common denominator from it. So I'm not going to be excited and like, well, that's super amazing. Great. Awesome. How can we now help you to get into a better position in life where you really, truly love what you do? and you live your life. That's the only goal. Like, hey, here's the starting plateau. Go learn how to be financially free, healthy, learn all these things, solve all these problems. And now really ask yourself, what is it that I want to be doing with my life for the rest of my life? Because I'm getting older. That's all. What do I want to be really good at? And then all it takes is just time and energy to create space. And then you're there. Super simple, right? So I had said that was awesome and got back to work to help others. What you do will feel good one day. But is today the day to celebrate? That's like something you got to ask yourself. You can celebrate every victory if you want. Have fun sounds great. I simply choose not to because I know what I want to do with my life. And it's not, reminisce because somebody made six figures. Cool, great, awesome. How can I help you? Any other way I can help you in the future? Like, that's super great and cool, but if I can't add more value to that person's life, I feel useless. So I do this because I enjoy doing it for others. So do you now believe you're capable of change? Without this belief, nothing will happen. Belief is one of the most powerful words in the universe because it has given birth to everything you have today. Someone thought it was a good idea to create a laptop and the internet. They sold the world on the laptop and the internet. Now we have access to a laptop, now we have access to a laptop and access to the internet where we can share information with one another. How much does the information that you've learned in high school differ from real life? Like, really ask yourself, what did you learn in high school and how was it valuable to real life? Like, have you ever learned about investing or creating money? Like, did you ever learn about that at all? I didn't. I didn't learn any of that. Maybe it's because I was in emotional support classes and I was the no child left behind. So maybe my high school reality was a little skewed. But 1.7 GPA has created everything you see in front of your face right now. So doesn't matter how dumb you think you are, you can literally do anything if you apply yourself properly and learn the information to allow yourself to create the reality that you're looking to create. I couldn't even form a sentence back in the day. Maybe I can't form a sentence now. Who knows? You're the judge of this, right? You see, our minds have been programmed to work until we're old, die, and it's basically over at this point. And then what did you learn in college? I have people that are literally like, yeah, I went to college for 6 years. I didn't learn any of this. And I said, awesome, sweet. Well, enjoy. There's literally people that go to school to become teachers and end up becoming freight brokers because they realize making $290,000 a year as a teacher is not in the, it's not there. That's not a thing. It doesn't happen. Maybe it does if you're lucky and you write books and you go down that path and you're older. Great, sweet, cool. But most reality doesn't align with that. So it sounds like a trap if you ask me. So this clearly means we need to reprogram our lives. Now, many of us have been programmed to learn information but never taught how to apply it. And let me read that one more time. Many of us have been programmed to learn information and never taught how to apply it. Remember when you were learning about World War II? It seems quite useless to learn about millions of people dying because we could not control our emotions as humans. The fun begins when you realize that a large part of our education was spent teaching us things that we would never use in real life. In high school, how much you learn about earning money? Probably none. Because if they teach you how to earn your own money, you don't go from high school to college to go working for some corporation. There are companies out there that are amazing. Please do not think that you need to be an entrepreneur, because if you've never heard of an intrapreneur, your life could be 10 times better if you're in the right place and you have the right understanding of where you are and where you could go. So you don't always need to be an entrepreneur. You can be an intrapreneur. How much did they teach you in college about automating your income? Most college degrees, even in entrepreneurship or whatever the hell they are, they don't even teach you about automating your income. Because like imagine, like why would you, if you know how to automate your income, well then snap your fingers, you're good, you're done. Simple. Pick up the phone. Hi, how are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. Talk for about 15, 20 minutes and then bam, automate your income. You see, the vast majority of thoughts that we've been taught to believe do not work. We're given them at a young age and lack sufficient information to protect ourselves from the thoughts that we've been taught to think. Why else is the obesity rate 42.4% in America? Why? If you can read a book to learn about eating healthy, why is the whole world unhealthy? If it's that simple, right? That's the way that it's played out. But even when you learn information, you've learned to learn information and not apply it. That is a program. So now when you get older and you try to change your life, you're like, wait a second, why is this not working? Because it's not as easy as they make it seem. That's why, once again, majority of programs on the internet, they make it look all simple, easy. You want to be on this beach wandering around in the woods making hundreds of thousands of dollars by doing nothing but having this app on your phone? Yeah, good luck with that delusion. Go pay them $50,000. And yeah, sure. Like you pay anybody $50,000, they'll automate your life for you. Sounds great. Super simple. 42.4%. That's a big number, but that's a reality over here in the United States of America. We're the best ever. So why else? And then why does the majority of people have less than $50,000 in their savings account? I used to have negative money in my bank account. Let's just take that as a frame of reference. One of the most serious issues has resulted from a constant process of learning information and never being required to apply it. Imagine knowing the right thing to do and not doing it. That's the problem that happens. Imagine how difficult it would be to change when we spend the majority of our lives learning, but never being required to put what we have learned into practice. Like, you can't learn about World War II and put that information in practice. Like, what are you even going to do with that? Like, there's recreations out there in the world, but how the hell is learning about mass death relevant for anybody's life? Oh, bad things happen. Great. Let's make sure that we learn about those so we are capable and understand how we can wage a war and then maybe do one in the future. Yeah, that sounds like a real logical thing over here on our tiny little ball planet that's apparently falling apart. Depends on how you look at it. I have no idea. But that's information that is just non conclusive. How is learning that bettering anybody's life? To me, I have no clue. So we all know that every action has an opposite and equal reaction. And the more aware you become, the better your responses will be. I can tell you right now that if you're aware of the changes you want to make, they will only take time. They might take a long time, they might take a short time, they might take a little bit of time. Change is possible. So think about it. Action, reading this document. Reaction, understanding one more layer to help you reach your goals. It's pretty simple. Now we need to start thinking about the thoughts that we've been taught to think so we can change them. Keep in mind that these are your thoughts and you're the only one who's responsible for them. Like, there's some scary stuff that happens out there in the world, and those are somebody's legitimate thoughts that they have maybe not taken responsibility for. Like, taking responsibility is one of those things that you need to learn to do in reality. I used to not take responsibility for how shitty of a guy I was to women. And then once you learn that, oh, it's because I didn't love myself, that's why you're not allowed to love me, and I wasn't responsible for anything, I would divert blame onto anybody else except myself. It's pretty liberating when you realize that you're the problem and the reason that these relationships never worked. And then once you get a little bit older and you learn self-love, you're like, oh dang, these you can really identify when people take responsibility for their actions. Like, yeah, let's meet for coffee at this time. Sounds great. See you there. They don't message you the rest of the night. They don't message you in the morning. Well, I just assume that we're not having coffee because you didn't put any effort into this. And I'm tired of being the one that's the only one that tries anymore. So if you're a guy watching this, yeah, when you go through these changes, that stuff happens. Like, you may have been meeting a bunch of people, but you realized that the people you were meeting were lower quality. That's why you met them in the first place. And you probably were the one that kept the conversation going. And if you're a woman and you're the person keeping the conversation going, get out. I'll tell you right now for a fact, if a guy's interested in you, oh, he's going to message you. He's going to message you all the time. He's going to want to call you. He's going to want to talk on the phone. He's going to want to video chat you. There is, I mean, maybe I have a skewed perception of reality, but I want to talk on the phone. I want to video chat. Nope. So if you're a guy, don't put too much energy in. If you're a girl, don't put too much energy in. Match the energy. Match the energy in the room. That's way you find somebody that resonates with you. Like, I can tell you for a fact, in my most recent experiences in life, it's people that talk to you that fall off and you're just confused. You're like, why'd you even try to talk to me in the first place? It's obvious. So keep in mind that these are your thoughts and you're the only one who's responsible for them. There's a slim chance that someone else is taught the same idea as you were, but how do you know unless someone says them out loud? When you decide to speak your dreams into the universe, you'll discover that others do as well. They were just afraid to speak them out loud and you were not. And that's like where a lot of people that speak up about controversial topics, people resonate towards that stuff because they're like, dang, that guy's got some balls to say those things. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty valid truth. I know a lot of people are thinking it. There's no way that they're not. And it's like with the 50 brain cell challenge. There's no way people that are healthy look at these foods and they're like, wow, that looks really good. They're like, that looks disgusting. My mouth will salivate occasionally if I think about Flamin' Hot Cheetos too much, or I go to the store and I'm like, whoa, Flamin' Hot Cool Ranch Doritos. Now, if they made Flamin' Hot Cool Ranch Lime Doritos, I'd probably drool, but then I wouldn't eat it because that stuff's total garbage. So when you decide to speak up about your dreams, you'll discover that others do as well. They were just afraid to speak them out loud. You were not. This is how we find leaders in reality who become famous with a following. Look at that man say all the things that I'm afraid to say. Yeah, that's reality. Like, it's very real. Think about all the people that say controversial things. They go pretty far. So this is an example of energetic resonance. When I say S equals EMC3, do you see? Energy we now know cannot be created nor destroyed, only converted from one form into another. The rate at which this transition occurs in one life is determined by the individual's resistance to change. Think about weight loss once again. The length of fat cells in the body determine how long those cells will take to change. This directly affects the amount of time and effort required. Unless acted upon by an unbalanced force, you will continue in a straight line. And this is what we were talking about with the document before with unbalancing forces and creating straight lines. Like, you have to create unbalance in your life if you're trying to improve the quality of your life. And that stuff that is the lack of balance should lean you in a positive direction. You can only go positive, negative, or neutral ways, plus, minus, and neutral, 1, 2, 3. We live in a three-dimensional reality. Your thoughts are within a three-dimensional reality. So think your positives, negatives, and neutrals, but recognize if anything's negative, you can choose to not resonate with that and put it in the neutral. And if anything's neutral, you can find a way to make it positive. Like, haters gonna hate, for sure. And I love them. Thank you so much. Hope you all have a great day. But these words represent an unbalanced force. You continue to read them and they add more information that you can use to interface with reality. The following information will teach you how to create unbalance in the right direction. Remember, the right words lead you to the correct location, which is the little paraphrasing here. The right words lead you to the right place, and the wrong words lead you to the wrong place. Yeah, right words, right place, wrong words, wrong place. Sorry. We'll read that as the sentence is. So remember that the right words will lead you to the correct location, whereas the wrong words lead you to the incorrect location. When you realize how simple it is to change your thoughts, you realize how difficult it is to act on the thoughts that you're now considering. That's where we stand in our own way. How the hell do I get out of my own way? I'm like, just move. Like, get out of the way. It's literally us in our own brain being afraid to do things out loud. And a good example of this, think about how confusing this is, right? Somebody goes to a bar where you have every excuse to walk up and talk to somebody, but like dudes stand over there in their group of friends and they're like, wow, that girl's really pretty. Yeah, maybe you should go say something to them. Like, if everybody in the world just started like putting their thoughts out there, like somebody was interested in somebody, well, why didn't you tell them? Like, well, why didn't you tell me? Like, I think you're super attractive too. Or, well, why didn't you tell me? We've been looking for somebody to do marketing for. Well, why didn't you let me know you had a health business? I've been trying to work with this personal trainer over here and nothing happened for the past like 3 months. And I'm like, oh, geez. So once you start putting your information out there and you get out of your own way and you become who you want to become, the world is a much better place. Happy people, happy planet. You get that one? Happy people, happy planet? Yeah. And then side takeaway here. You know how people always say, oh, sorry, like you're walking around outside and they're like, oh, sorry. Like, what? I used to hate that. And then I finally figured out that you're supposed to say, don't be sorry, we share the world. And then people are like, oh, yeah, you're right. And I'm like, have a beautiful day. So this is why we live in a world where everyone tells everyone to do something, but most of them don't do it themselves. Like, I know what I teach works because I do it. And I've applied it to my life for years, and I was afraid to speak up about it. And now I'm not scared at all because other people are using it, and it is very clear that it works. So now I have proof that my process actually works for other people. It's not just some delusion that I was teaching myself. And that's the most liberating thing ever, where it's like, I went through the struggle, the trials, and the tribulations. I kept track of all the shit that I needed that didn't exist when I needed it most. And now it's in front of your face talking about unbalanced forces with physics. Wait, what? How do you do that? You just read a bunch of books. So, where we at here? Boom, 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 boom. What else makes you think, what makes you think I wrote such a long paper on reverse engineering your life? I know that even if you read this, there will still be parts missing. So that's why we wrote even more documents for you down below. You thought you were done learning. Yeah, nope. All right, so moving on. Once again, you're up against childhood programming, which is responsible for 95% of the reality you believe exists. Remember, the only thoughts that matter are the ones that you've been taught to think, because matter can't matter unless it matters to you. So don't talk to strangers must be changed to talk to strangers, because strangers give you everything. You just don't know it yet. And like, not talking to a person that you want to talk to, oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many times a random person was sitting next to me in a coffee shop and I'd get off of a phone call and one guy was like, you do e-commerce? And I was like, yeah, I do. And then he's like, oh, me too. He's like, we're doing like $3,000 a day. And I was like, sick. I was like, well, what do you got going on? I was like, I see your ads. And then he said, sure. And then that turned into a client for me. He paid $3,000 a month. They're already making $3,000 a day. That's like something I want you to realize. When somebody's making $3,000 a day and you ask them for $3,000 a month, they don't care. They're like, yeah, sure, sounds great. Like, that's all. Like, let me take away one more time. When somebody's making $3,000 a day and you ask them for $3,000, they don't care. That's like one day of work for them. That's your whole month. I just paid for you to work for me for the whole month by one day of work. Like, take that in reality. Like, if a company makes $1 million and you ask for $1,000, they're going to be confused. If a company makes $1 million and you ask for $10,000, they might be like, all right, yeah, like, what are we going to get with this? If a company makes $1 million and you ask for $100,000, they might be like, all right, what are we going to be actually getting for this? So just recognize that, like, the only reason a person thinks that a lot of money is a lot of money because they have a little bit of money. And like, that's a big thing that I like didn't really understand until I got older. And I was like, oh, wait, like, like why, what? I should have asked for more money? Dang it. Oh, well. You must maintain control over your subconscious mind until you rewrite it with the actions that you want. I'll walk you through the exact steps I took from having no money, depressed, and being addicted to drugs and alcohol, now owning 2 businesses and coaching others to make 6 figures a year. Sounds insane, right? Yeah. I've never taken a second to look back at everything I've accomplished because no matter how hard I try, I will always feel like I am not good enough for others, which also goes into like relationships. No matter how much I'm trying to love a person, I'll always think that I could be giving them more love and happiness. And I think that's a good thing. I'm glad that I never feel satisfied when it comes to helping other people. That proves for a pretty good fire burning under you to improve the quality of your life, thus improving the quality of other people's lives. This to me is kind of like a superpower because it's almost impossible to outwork somebody who's never going to stop. It's almost impossible to outwork somebody who thinks that the work that they've created is still not as good as it could have been. Like even this video right here, we're 44 minutes and 52 seconds and we're only on page, I don't know, 7 or 8. So we got some more time to go here. Now, let me do this. So if you're wondering where I'm getting the 95% from, you can read the books located at the top of the page. It talks about the subconscious reprogramming. 1 through 7 is our programming phase. Once we're adults, we don't really operate in that anymore. We can only ping that when we sleep at night. That's why we give you the subconscious affirmations to listen to when you sleep at night, to be able to learn self-love and be like, wait a minute, I hate my whole life because it's all wrong. And everything I'm doing is because I don't love myself. Yeah, been there, done that. It's not a good place to be. But once you recognize you're there, then you can change. Remember, happy people, happy planet. So I simply spent 2 years attempting to determine whether or not the information in the books was true. Like, and it's very, very true. Like 3 days into somebody listening to it, they're like, yeah, I'm getting pissed off at work. And I'm like, yeah, because you probably don't like where you work. And they're like, I don't. And I'm like, well, it's going to get worse. So you might as well plan on doing something else with your life. So guess you'll have to try it out and find if it's true or false, huh? So before we get into meditation, which is one of the key mechanics here, it's called meditate or medicate. Like you got anxiety, you want medication, or do you want the actual solution to your problems? That's up to you to choose, and you can choose either one because it's your life that you live, not mine. So I'd like to share some resources with you to help you understand why I'm about to tell you to meditate in the middle of your day. So there's the Homeostatic Line. The Homeostatic Line is a paper that's on the health page. It talks to you about meditation. It gives you me meditating with you for an hour to show you that it's possible. But that's just going to give you a little bit more information. This document will assist you in understanding meditation, specifically the default mode network. That is a very important part to understand because we're talking about reprogramming. So what's our default network? Like, what am I going to do tomorrow when I wake up? I'm going to do what I've been doing every single day previously. What is somebody else going to do tomorrow? Everything that they've been doing previously, unless they're consciously aware of the change that they're trying to create in their life. So the brain is most active in the middle of the day, which indicates it's beta and alpha brainwaves. We can change these thoughts if we want to take time to consider what we have been taught to think. Like for me, yeah, lunchtime, I'm going to go get myself some fast food, garbage, swallow all that crap. And great. Yeah, garbage, swallow all that crap. You like that? You want a garbage swallow? What's that? It's when you eat crap. So you cannot change them unless you understand how to change them. Like you can't change your thoughts unless you truly understand what they are. So if the statement does not resonate, read this entire document about the voice in your head again. Like you're only going to be able to change the quality of your life because the quality of your life is right here. Everything that you're thinking about what's happening, you're the only one that's thinking it. The chances of somebody else thinking it might be equal, might be true, but the chance of you doing something and changing it, most people will not. If you leave it up to the ladder will just fall over and then they'll set the ladder back up again. They'll climb like 1 or 2 rings and then they'll say, this is scary. And then they won't do it. Change is fearful, but you turn that fear into fire and you turn that, prison into passion, or you turn a pee into something. What was it? You turn your fear into fire. And then I don't remember what the other one was. It's in the document. I forget. Doing too much stuff. That's good that I forget that, but it's okay. So 1, you must meditate an hour every single day for an entire year. Like if you are trying to take this shit as serious as possible and you really truly want to change your life as fast as possible, you need to make sure the plasticity in your brain is there, because whatever your subconscious scripts were previously, they will stand in your way. There will be weeks and months that it takes you to become confident enough in believing in yourself and not being afraid to speak to others about the things that you want to speak to them about. It's going to take a long time. So you meditate to increase your neuronal plasticity. This meditation is a break in your action. For me, instead of everybody going to lunch, I would just sit down and meditate. People thought I was weird, but I said, you're weird for thinking I'm weird for being healthy. Get away from me. Then they never really bothered me again. Like, if you're not where you want to be, recognize that you're not where you want to be. And if everybody isn't also not where they want to be, then you're probably going to have to outgrow those people and get rid of them. And you're going to find better friends. You're going to find new people who are where they want to be. And they're going to be a lot fucking happier. I'll tell you that for sure. If you're around people that aren't happy, you'll note it immediately. You're around people that meditate, you'll notice that immediately. So this allows the brain to access the theta and delta brain waves. You will feel yourself fall asleep. There's a video that we're going to link you right there about the meditation for an hour. So we can change our thoughts if we take the time to consider what we have been taught to think. Oh, my bad. Reading over there on the other thing. Sorry. So please make an effort to meditate at least 3 times per week if you're unable to do every single day. If you can do every single day, do it. Think about where you're losing your time. Read the book called The One Thing, which is referred above. So you have time to do this. I know you do. So if you do not meditate, you will if you do not meditate, you will reduce plasticity levels in your brain. There's a lot of research behind meditation and plasticity. The goal is to increase plasticity levels, plastic levels in your brain. The goal is to increase plasticity levels. Geez, I still can't do that word, even though I always try it. Plasticity levels in the brain. 365 days, 1 year hour meditations yield the best results. Here's a YouTube video where I meditate with you for 1 hour to prove that it's possible. This meditation will help your mind become more plastic, and you will learn to let go of the anxious feelings that chase your thoughts around. Nothing bad's happening. You only believe it is. And even if bad things are happening, take a second. This is just like a human life. Like, you're going to go exist after this if that's what you believe. So, like, there's nothing you can do wrong. Nobody's out to hurt you. Nobody's out to harm you. And if they're out to hurt you and harm you, you should be running away in the opposite direction from that. Like, I don't do violence. I'm like, man, violence, see you later. Not interacting with that. Well, drama, nope, not interacting with that. I'm out immediately, going in the other direction. So you will lose many friends when you start to realize their minds are overreactive and drawn towards the next dopamine fix. It's similar to a rocket ship. When you advance in life, the boosters fall off, which I forget who said that. That's somewhere on the internet. Don't be afraid to let go of the people who are dragging you down and keeping you trapped in the life you don't want to live anymore. Like, if I could speak into that, I'd tell you everybody that I was friends with, I am no longer friends with, because I honestly don't even know what they're doing anymore, because I don't care to check up. I'm not going to go check up or see like, oh, how much better am I than them? I don't care. I know that I am better than I was yesterday, and that's all that matters. I'm in a game against improving upon myself, not anyone else. Somebody else doing some stuff? Cool, sweet. People send me videos. Hey, this video is similar to yours. Cool, sweet. Don't care. I got my own shit to do. You got your own shit to do. Stop being pulled around by random shit in the universe. Yes, people are going to think you're weird for meditating in the middle of the day. Someone once told me that I was weird for stretching, waiting in line. I told them, you're weird for thinking I'm weird for being healthy. Get away from me. You'll be surprised how many people might think you're weird for doing stuff. Like walking around outside in dead of winter in shorts and a t-shirt. People are like, that guy's crazy. No, you just don't get science. And that's okay. Because everybody that doesn't understand science is probably thinking somebody else is crazy at some point in time. It's normal. Get used to it. And then, so that never bothered me again. Never underestimate the power of standing up for yourself, because some people will never do it. Like, when you realize how important it is to stand up for yourself and like set expectations, you understand. It's like the conversation about popcorn. We go out to the movies and your expectation was for me to pay for the movie, buy you popcorn and soda. And I didn't buy you popcorn or soda because I think both of those are trash. You probably should have knew that before going on a date with me, that I was never going to buy you popcorn or trash. But somebody else out there, they might get invalidated by the fact that that person didn't do that for them, but they never spoke up about it. Now, when you're just living life like normal, you just invalidated the other person and you don't even know that they invalidated them. So when you do it, people will think you're mean. When you stand up for yourself, some people might think you're mean. I'm never going to get offended when somebody's like, hey, I expected this. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'll pay attention next time and improve. Like, if you're in a relationship with somebody, speak up about the shit you need. Because if you're in a relationship with the right person, they're listening 100%. Like, I'm all ears. What can I do to be a better partner? That, awesome. I'm going to work on that. And I need you to call me out on my shit every time I don't. So at least people leave you alone after that. So when you call yourself out and they're strangers, they're going to leave you alone. When you call somebody else out and they love you, they're not going to leave you alone. They're going to improve. And then pay attention to how much they actually improve or not. That's a very big key indicator. Don't keep talking to the same person and not solving the same problem. Like, there are a lot of people out there that are in very bad relationships, and they've just accepted that a bad relationship is the way that life goes. So right there is the YouTube video that you can watch. That's just me meditating outside by a tree. I don't suggest starting to meditate outside, because you will get like ants crawling on you. You'll notice a couple times through the video, I'm like, like wiping something off. Those are legitimately bugs crawling on you, and I don't really want a bug to crawl inside of my human body, so I just wipe that off. Now, moving on. All right, it's 2. So number 1, meditate an hour every single day for an entire year. This is in the 20-page outline as well, the homeostatic line, the step-by-step that we created for you if you didn't have a schedule. Step 2. So subconscious affirmations while you sleep at night will assist in reprogramming the subconscious mind. It's pretty much the only time that you're going to be able to change is when you sleep at night. This is the most important step, because you are directly accessing the part of your brain that you want to change, which is like, I hear the word manifest. What are you manifesting today, sir? because I know that people that usually use those words are in a positive direction of reality. They're positive moving energy and positive moving forces that I want to find out what you got going on. And they're like, oh, I was feeling a little bit depressed today. I figured I'd dress up nice, go out to the coffee shop, apply for some jobs. And I was like, what is it that you do? And they're like, I do SEO optimizations. And I was like, interesting. I have a marketing agency. We should probably connect. That person, that connection right there was worth about $10,000 to me in my life. And then they got a job and did their own thing and they were too busy to fulfill projects. So I found somebody else. So just by hearing a word manifest, what? That's $10,000 right there. Just by being able to go, what was that, sir? I heard something that was valuable in the universe. Once you learn to pick up on those things, and when you're no longer afraid, your subconscious is like, whoa, I just heard opportunity. Let's go be a part of that, because that's how the world works. So when you listen to these when you sleep at night, here's the video. 45 days based on the book called Habits of a Happy Brain, and 66 days based on the book called The One Thing. It's just how programming works. People say like there's this 3-month rule. I don't know, some weird social media stuff that's going on in the world. Do this and your life's going to be better. No, do this and your life's actually going to be better. So the affirmation video should be viewed without the use of headphones. Your headphone could fall out and you miss a night. You miss a night, that sucks. This is programming. Listen to the same thing every single night. No deviations, no changes, no nothing. It's like a baby trying to learn how to walk. Well, I don't know how to use my legs. Do you remember consciously trying to walk? Like, do you remember applying the muscle fibers in your legs and you're like, my middle toe won't apply its pressure correctly, so I can't walk. I don't think anybody remembers that as a kid, and if you do, you should probably go get like some Nobel Peace Prize because your brain's wired differently. But for everybody else, it's like learning how to walk for the first time. Listen to the affirmation video for 45 to 66 days every night when you sleep. The affirmation video should be viewed without the use of headphones. Don't use headphones. You don't need them. Put it next to your bed. It's going to be very uncomfortable at first, but you'll be glad that you did, because you'll start recognizing that certain things that used to bother you don't bother you anymore. And people that actually treat you like shit, you're going to stand up for yourself. Like one of my friends that I was friends with for a long time, I live vicariously through him. We're still friends. I live vicariously through him. He does all this crazy stuff, goes out on dates, meets a bunch of people. I dread going out on another date with somebody that like isn't super 100% interested in me and we're not on the same page. Like I hate going out on dates. It's just like a nightmare. And I'm 0-2 when it comes to getting on airplanes and flying and going and meeting somebody. But hey, you know what? Whatever. Wasn't really into the one. The other one, absolutely not a chance ever. Holy hell, that was the worst experience of my life. But you know, you got to put yourself out there. So I want to warn you that if you start listening to this, you may be quite upset with things that you were not previously bothered by. Like you will realize that your lack of self-love has created a lot of shit in your life that you don't want to have anymore. The first few days are going to be the hardest because honestly, someone talking to me when I was sleeping at night made me pretty mad. I'm like, oh, it's so annoying. So it's really going to be uncomfortable at first, but eventually it'll just be like it's been happening all along. It'll be like just deciding to get up and go walk. You don't got to think about every muscle fiber. It's just bam, it happens. Look at that. You're walking. So the first few days are going to be the hardest, blah, 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 blah. So it might take weeks. It might take a few weeks for the self-love that you may have been lacking to become a reality in your life. Like it took me about 26 days. And I remember somebody said something to me. They blamed me for something. And then instead of reacting out of like pure anger, I reacted out of love. And I said, hey, you know, I accept the fact that I have made these mistakes and I am the person that probably end up losing these keys. And I probably did lose the keys. But if you would have looked over there, you'd see the keys are in the door. And I was like, thanks, but maybe talk to me a little bit nicer next time or I'm just not going to answer you anymore. And then I was like, I turned to my friend and I was like, dude, they're working. He's like, what's working? Because he had no idea what I was doing. But I was doing my own thing and I knew they worked based on that. So, and this is why you add the meditation into play, you add the affirmations into play, and then you're going to get the 20-minute timer, and you're going to have that timer go off, and you're going to experience how you experience reality differently, and then, whoa, there's your change that you've been looking for. So, even if you think you already love yourself, I challenge you to listen to these affirmations while you sleep. If you're in a relationship, please listen to them together. It's very important in conjunction with the next few sections, because you'll become more aware, or sorry, geez, I'm butchering this sentence. This is very important in conjunction with the next few sections because you will become more aware when it occurs. It took me about 26 days to feel the full effects. So this is the key part right here. So you set your timer on your phone for an hour, you close your eyeballs, you suck up the fact that you're like, I can't meditate. Yeah, you freaking can. If I can't, of all people, you 100% can. ADD, ADHD, ODD, depression, anxiety, a whole bunch of other laundry list of shit and pills. And being able to meditate for an hour, somebody with ADD and ADHD, if I can do it, you can do it. No excuse. So set that timer on your phone, close your eyes, and let your mind wander, because that's the whole point. When someone says, oh, I can't stop thinking, no duh, nobody else can either. It's like what's a good example here? I don't know how to fly an F-18. I go sit in the cockpit of an F-18 for the first time and I have no clue what's going on. There's a bunch of buttons and I don't know what they mean. It's kind of like meditating. You've never meditated before? Sit down and realize you're not supposed to have a quiet mind. You're probably going to be thinking about unicorns and random shit that doesn't matter. But that's where you listen to that voice inside of your head and you recognize all of this smoothie of shit floating around in my brain is useless. Like, it is literally useless. Like, your mind will wander to some places that'll confuse you. And if you're reading books about learning subjects that you want to understand better, you'll be like, why the hell am I thinking about this? And then in time, your brain will just be replaced by all of the smartest thoughts of other people that exist in our world. And it's a pretty good reality when you live off of those thoughts that they now have taught you. Like, don't live off of thoughts that you've been taught to think. Live off of thoughts that you taught yourself how to think. That's how reality becomes a better place. So when this timer goes off, you take a big, nice, deep breath because air acts as the bridge between conscious and unconscious activity. How many breaths have you taken in the past 45 seconds reading this? How many times have you blinked? This is where you shouldn't know that or you're insane. You're probably some sort of alien if you know how many times you've been taking air into your lungs and blinking at the same time while listening to this. If you know how many breaths you've taken in the past 59 minutes and 54 seconds, you're crazy. If you know how many times you've blinked in the past 59 minutes and 57 seconds, you're crazy. Just kidding. You're probably just a superhuman and you probably should stop reading this and go start your own company to teach people how to be superhuman. So, JK, how many times blah, blah, blah. So this is where you understand that 95% of the reality is built in the subconscious mind. When you become aware of your actions, then and only then can you change them. All right, boom, moving on. So the timer's main goal is to catch your subconscious programs. This is very real when you start to recognize that, like, you're thinking in this negative pattern. And the timer, when it goes off, you breathe and you ask yourself, where am I? Where do I want to be? And how do I get there? And if you do that through the whole year, you'll be completely aware of your time. Your dopamine, remember your lack of subjectivity and time, you won't take impulsive behaviors anymore because you'll recognize I'm doing something useless. Like, I can tell you that I will scroll for maybe 2 minutes on social media before I'm like, yep, not learning anything. I'm done here and put my phone down because it's not improving my life. And the quality of my life does not improve by watching random 3-minute videos online. And once you realize the majority of our world, they say that we're competing with a goldfish. That means the majority of people's education are based on 7-second videos and 3-minute videos. Or a podcast that gives you half of the information that gives you this, like, oh, I heard on a podcast this one thing. But do you actually understand how to apply that to your reality? Did you read the book or did you just listen to the podcast? Because podcasts are just people repeating themselves. It's the cliff notes of the stories that you need to validate that you can do it too. They don't tell you about the stories on the podcast. It's why I don't like watching podcasts very much. So when I decided to read books, I was surrounded by drugs, candy, ice cream, and video games. When the timer went off, I had to force myself to pick up a book and read. I would read the first page and I'd be so bored the entire time reading that book that I'd put that book back down and go back to playing video games. You know, my shitty reality made better by drugs. That's a real reality for a lot of people. They say that if you drink or you do drugs, you're just really unhappy with your life and you're looking for something to improve the quality of your life. Your consciousness isn't good enough for you, so add something to it to make it better, yeah? Yeah, probably. I used to do all that stuff. Not anymore. I love the way that my mind works, and I don't want to use drugs to alter the way that my mind works because that sounds like a terrible idea. I had to force myself to read. I was reminded of how bad my life was, which is why the timer is so difficult to keep resetting. This is why I tell you, like, anxiety and depression, like, when you know you need to call people to make money and you don't make those calls and you don't make money and your same month is the same as your last month and you're fucking unhappy and you're getting depressed because you're unhappy and you're like, I can do this. What's wrong? I don't know. You'll figure it out. Whatever's wrong is something that you're going through. Your problems are not the same as others. You probably have the same problem as someone else, which is lack of believing in yourself, feeling scared that something's going to happen that's not actually going to happen. I remember when I started my first company, I thought everybody that I knew when I was younger was going to be like saying all this mean, negative stuff, and haven't heard about them in a while. I literally had a TikTok video where I was talking about sleeping around. And at one point in my life, I did cheat on somebody, and I was a piece of crap garbage at the time. Nowadays, it's like, hey, you need the passcode to my phone. Awesome. Like, totally different human being. So change is possible. But that person called me out for that. And I replied to their comment and I said, yeah, you're right. I did. And I'm sorry. And that was also 6 years ago. And I'm sorry that you're still stuck on that and upset. I have ever healed and changed myself. And I am not that same person. And I apologize that I used to be that person. So this is where you recognize that shit you used to do in the past is not what you will do in the present and the future if you choose to change the quality of your life. Like, I can't even talk to more than one person at a time. It was a combination of my traumas and just learning how to manage my energy. I refuse to divide my time and energy across multiple people. When it comes to dating or relationships, I will not talk to multiple people. I can't. I could never do it. When it comes to business, I'm gonna talk to everybody and your mother and your grandmother and your aunt and your uncle. I'm gonna talk to everybody. But when it comes to that like emotional side of the world, I can't do it. It makes me feel like shit. But when it comes to business, well, I'm talking to everybody. Oh, you don't want to work together? Sweet, sick. I'm going to talk to these people over here. Oh, they don't want to work together? Awesome, over here. Talk to everybody. In business, nobody's going to be mad because you're talking to like multiple businesses. In a relationship, a girl will be mad because you're talking to multiple girls. Or a guy, me personally, I'd be kind of pissed if you're talking to multiple dudes. I'm like, I'm not trying to invest my time in this. Have a beautiful day whenever you're ready and figure out what you want. If you see the value in me, sweet, let's move forward. If not, see you later. So could you imagine constantly reminding yourself if you're not could you imagine constantly reminding yourself that you are not where you want to be? This task is critical to remind yourself that the change you seek is in fact possible. If you use the subconscious affirmations in the Homeostatic Line PDF, you'll notice yourself doing something that you have never done before automatically. For me, it was not getting angry anymore. Like I used to get pissed at everything, like absolutely everything. If I could find a reason to get pissed at something, oh, I was the first person to get angry and mad and want to fight somebody. Literally, like somebody in traffic honking, I would scream, "Get the out of your car, let's go!" And I'd pull over here, and they wouldn't pull over. Maybe they thought I was crazy. I'm like, I mean, I probably was, but like I would do that stuff. People used to use cones to protect their parking spots in the city, and I would stop my car. I would get out of my car, I'd grab their cone, and I would whip it across the street. One guy walked out one day, and then I was sitting in my car. It was lowered, so I looked like a smaller person. I was 6'2", 220 at the time. Dude comes out. He's like, "Did you just throw my cone?" Slam the brakes on, rip the e-brake, get out. "I did. What the are you gonna do about it?" And then they just were like, yeah, they just went back in their house. So like I used to be super pissed and would want to fight and argue with everybody. But once you realize, oh my gosh, fighting and arguing with people is the worst thing you're ever going to do in your life, your whole life changes. Like that negative energy, sweet, cool, sounds great. Have a good day. Like I get people that say negative things to me all the time, and I'm like, all right, I don't even read it. Like sometimes your eyeballs glance across it, and you're like, oops. But it's gonna be there. But the way that you identify with it is what matters the most. Don't react, respond to it. So, moving on over here, where we at? Blah 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 blah. So these affirmation videos combined with this, so these affirmations combined with meditation and the timer allowed me to gain complete control of my life. We are a synthesis of our conscious and subconscious experiences. Your entire concept of what it means to be human has been produced by your parents or any vibrating energy that you've been subject to in the first 7 years of your life. My life was effed, fucking effed. F, and then like I got D's and F's in high school, so maybe it correlates over to how shitty my reality was. I didn't know how to learn anything, and I didn't know how to apply information or myself. Now I apply myself with hour-long videos. We're about halfway through here, and then I have to pause, and I got to take a call in 20 minutes. Oh, geez, life's just doing its thing. We're too young to defend ourselves against the thoughts we've been taught to think. Remember, don't talk to strangers. Put a coat on, it's cold outside, you'll get sick. These are thoughts that we've been taught to think as children and now proven as delusions. Like they are delusions. Go talk to strangers. Like your wife is out there somewhere. You probably haven't talked to her yet. Your next client is out there. You probably haven't talked to them yet. Put a coat on, it's cold outside, you'll get sick. Hell no. Hashtag wham half. I'm going to go breathe some air and not be afraid of the cold because my nervous system's jacked up. Consider the difference between someone who was born to seek depression and competition against someone who has no idea that depression even exists. And on the genetic tests, we're finding out a lot of people that have gene expressions towards interleukin 6 were suffering from depression and anxiety, and people that didn't seem to have not suffered from depression and anxiety. Like, I literally talk to people on the phone, and I'm like, "You ever experienced depression?" And they're like, "No, not really." And I'm like, wonder what that's like. Like, I have no idea what that's like. One person starts with the right answers to go to the right place, and someone else starts with the wrong answers to go to the wrong place. These pre-programmed thoughts begin to shape our lives before we're even aware of them. Only when you learn to become aware of the thoughts that you've been taught to think will you be able to change them. Most of us end up getting older and realizing life sucks, never realizing that it only sucks because we wanted it to suck. Like, imagine if life sucks because you literally are going to wake up tomorrow and make life suck. Like, you're going to try to do everything wrong so you end up in the same place. Like, that was me. I don't know if you're like that, but I genuinely would wake up, opportunity would be there, and I'd be like, nah, So if it looks like I changed clothes, I definitely changed clothes. We're going to pick up where we left off. I apologize, but my recording software stopped recording my voice. So I have to redo this, and we're going to continue with. Now, let's start the process. Imagine what it would be like to have something that we don't have right now. Like anybody can do that. Anybody can imagine what it's like to have something that they don't have. Like the only reason people fantasize about money is because they don't have money. The only reason people fantasize about a bigger house is because they don't have a bigger house. When you learn that the only reason we think we want things is because we don't have them, then you start to realize, oh shit, I have a little bit more control over this than I thought I did. Like I always wanted to be making six figures, but then when you started making six figures, you're kind of just like, oh, like I thought this was something different than it actually is. So remember, the journey is always more important than the destination. Like if I could go back to dirt poor where I would just talk to people all day and hang out and have fun, that was kind of fun. But you can't do that forever because you're getting older and you're getting less relevant and you don't want to be older and poor. That'd be absolutely terrible. So you understand that if someone else has something, there's a good chance that you can have it as well. This is an action reaction frequency that we can all identify with. Once again, it takes a little bit of time and energy to create this space. The right words lead you to the right place, and the wrong words lead you to the wrong place. I remember fantasizing about making tens of thousands of dollars doing something I enjoyed. Those dreams have been with me for a long time now. That's why I'm teaching them for you, because it's really easy. It's not as hard as you think. And once you get there, you're going to be like, oh, that's all? Yeah, it was just some missing thoughts, some information that you've been taught to think that doesn't actually work. Then you get older and you realize that information doesn't actually work. So you can have anything that you want, but realize that a majority of the world is just going to fill your brain with the path of least resistance. This is why a lot of people tell you it's a lot easier than you think it is. But that's why you read the 10x rule, because you're going to have to do 10 times the things you think you're going to have to do to get to where you want to be. And if you don't decide to do those things, then guess what? You never get there. The universe doesn't care. It's not magically going to come save you. You have to work like hell or be lucky. People get lucky. That happens. When you begin the journey of obtaining your goals, you will encounter a plethora of obstacles that will prevent you from achieving them. Every one of these obstacles is a result of the thoughts that you've been taught to think. When I wanted to make more money online, I was afraid to pick up the phone and call someone. Like, think about that. I knew exactly what to do and exactly what to say, but I was still too scared to pick up the phone and call. Like, many people are too afraid to pick up the phone and call. There's even people out there that would rather sell somebody else's idea because they don't believe in themselves enough. It's like this weird thing where it's your idea, and if you don't feel like you're good enough, you won't do it. That is the biggest thing that anybody can change in their life, is the fact that you are able to do these things and you can do these and it's possible, and you just need to love yourself a little bit more, and then the reality you want is the reality you can have. Like, think about this. The people that are not where they want to be in their lives are wandering around the internet right now. They're trying to find some sense of purpose. They're trying to fill their time with something. And that's what they're going to continue to do. Like 99% of reality is going to wander around. If you can be that 1% who doesn't wander around and who focuses on their goals, you will, in fact, be able to achieve them. This is the path of least resistance, but my thoughts prevented me from taking this path. You must be willing to take the path that no one else is willing to take. This means, like, oh no, tonight's New Year's. What are you going to do? Go out and party with people that might not be where they want to be? Like, it's very important to understand who you surround yourself with. Yeah, go have fun if you're that type of person. You want to go have fun, spend another day living in your same reality? Completely up to you. But if you want to transform your reality, you will realize that most people, they're not out doing the party and shit. No one cares on that stuff. It's not like, hey, I'm going to go out and party. It's, hey, I have to wake up early tomorrow because I have a meeting in a different country type lifestyle. So you go from, same thing with me. I went from hanging out in the bathroom, eating flaming hot Cheetos, drinking beer at a bar, watching people snort drugs off a toilet seat, to literally where I currently am at. Which, if you're interested in learning about that, feel free to book a call, have a conversation, you can learn more. But you will live a better life because you decided to take this path. When I rewind, I tell myself, dang, what were you even afraid of? Like, why was I so scared to start speaking up about the things that I believed in? It's because I was taught a thought and I was unable to unthink that thought. So, all right, there's the thoughts you were taught to think. So now there's three essential parts of this equation: time, when; energy, what; space, where. Consider these three terms in relations to tasks. How long will it take you to get healthy if you want to? What effort do you need to put in to create this space? What are you going to do when you get there? Now, obviously, it seems really simple. All you got to do is be aware of your time and energy to create space. But our feelings get in the way. This is where there's a time and place for emotions. If you're on a square box or you're interacting with your phone, you should not be going there to receive an emotional response. If you're getting an emotional response from your phone or your computer, That is a very unhealthy relationship. You should be saving your emotional responses for the people that matter in your life. And remember, matter can't matter unless it matters to you. So, like, if it matters that you go to your phone to get your emotional response, you'll keep reinforcing that. And then I hope everybody in your life somehow, in way, shape, and form, is better than your phone. Because a lot of people nowadays, at least when I go to coffee shops, I see two people sitting together that think they're in a relationship, and they're just both sitting there on their phones like this. They're not even talking to each other. It's like, what's the point of being with somebody at that point in time? Might as well just go find somebody better. So there's three essential parts of your emotions: positive, negative, and neutral. The positive is obviously good. You want to be around people that are having high vibration conversation. You don't want to be around your low vibration conversations, and you don't want to be around conversations that go nowhere. Every one of my friends that I used to be friends with, I am no longer friends with because I do not think the same thoughts of them. I do not have the same life anymore. I do not have the same interests. I do not have the same direction that they were going. The only reason we were friends is because, oh, hey, you go to the bar, I go to the bar. You hate your job, I hate my job. You sleep around, I sleep around. You eat garbage, I eat garbage. Once you realize that the only reason certain people are in your life is because you were at one point in time less than you are now, you have to reevaluate your life. Just how you have to reevaluate your thoughts, because you're always improving the quality of your reality. And when have you taken a second to just stop and be like, what do I want with my life? I can have it. Anybody can. Do you want it? If not you, then who? If not now, then when? Is a thought that you want to ask yourself. Like, do you want to keep doing the same things you did last year? Because New Year's is here. I'm recording this on 12/31/2022 at 7:20 p.m. I'm going to continue to work all night. Tomorrow is not some magical different day to me. I'm literally going to continue to live my life as if nothing changed. Tomorrow is just, oh, sun goes down, sun goes up. People are doing different things. You need to live outside of time and stop thinking in this circle anomaly that has been created for you to just do the same things on different days. Oh, it's the weekend. I don't work on weekends. I'll tell you this, any serious entrepreneur really just thinks the weekends and all this other stuff are stupid, because people are closed, they're not open, you can't work with them. Sunday's a day of rest, New Year's, oh, nobody's open. Christmas, nobody's open. Thanksgiving, nobody's open. It's all just ridiculous. And you'll recognize that once you stop really just kind of doing the mundane things in life. Then you go do more with your life, where there's no such thing as, oh, I'm gonna go on vacation over here whenever I have days off. I think that's the right thing to do. Not how life works at all. You're going to live outside of time eventually, because once you start to do what you love doing, time doesn't exist. You're not waiting for Monday to roll around so you can go back to work. I'm fucking excited to wake up tomorrow because I get to do everything that I did today tomorrow again, and I love doing what I do. So once you finally love what you do, there is no work-life balance that people talk about. It's bullshit. It's a scam. There's no work-life balance. It is, I love what I do with my life. It's called living life. The work-life balance, what the hell's that? I mean, of course, as I said in this document earlier, the single person is going to have a much easier time using this. If you have a family, if you have responsibility, if you have bills, changing the entire purpose of your life is going to be very difficult and hard. You might not have the time to do the things that we suggested you do. So you're going to have to improvise. That was your choice to get married and have kids. I'm going to wait until the right person comes along, aka Grant Cardone's like 45 when he met his wife. I'm 32. Shit, I got 13 years left of hard work to build a beautiful world to take somebody into. But that's just one way to think of things. So you may be wondering how your emotions relate to reverse engineering. The key to change is to understand how the mind generates a process that improves life circumstances. You're the one thinking these thoughts. You're the one that's responsible for your thoughts. And these thoughts only matter to you. They might matter to some other people, but you're the one who has to be able to address them, realize them, and also change them. Emotions are often something that stands in the way. If you're waiting to feel motivated to eat healthy, yeah, that's never going to come. Like, you're not magically going to feel motivated to eat healthy. It's the same reason why New Year's resolutions don't actually work. You're not magically going to magically change your life because tomorrow came. You're not magically going to want to eat healthy. Most people have to experience an extremely low or some sort of trauma in their life to really kickstart that change. Like adults, there's like cognitive behavioral therapy books that talk about the fact that nobody's going to fucking change unless they have some sort of traumatic event that's like, you really need to change. Like somebody gets divorced, kicked out, they lose everything, they're living in their car. Maybe then they should probably change, but some people still don't. Don't be the person that doesn't change. So, you're not going to magically feel motivated to make money online either. It's not how it works. I will wake up on certain days and be like, I don't even want to be alive today. But I know that the life that I'm living is helping so many other people. So I'm going to continue to wake up every single day, regardless of how I feel, and help other people. Because that is just something that makes me feel happy. My happiness comes from other people's success. It's as easy as that. Once you love your life, then you get to create beautiful things for other people, and then they get to experience these awesome things that you've created. That makes me happy. That's what drives me. Other people. If other people weren't here, I sure as shit wouldn't be here because I'd have nothing to wake up for. So you must follow the 5 second rule by Mel Robbins here, which is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Get the fuck up and go do the shit you got to do to get to where you want to be, or you never get there. Nobody's coming to get you out of bed when you feel depressed and sad and don't want to do anything. I guarantee you that. When I was living in a friend's basement, ain't nobody waking me up on the weekends when I'm sleeping at 4 p.m. The only reason I got up is because I didn't want to piss my bed, so I would go pee in the toilet. So remember, you don't always know where somebody was coming from. So when somebody's doing something that seems amazing, where were they before? Where were they? Where did they actually start? Like, those are real questions. I talk to some people and they've never heard of depression before. I'm like, you ever been depressed? And they're like, no. And I'm like, what's that like? And they're like, I don't know. It's just really confusing. You don't understand it. So when we understand why we feel what we feel, we can change how we feel. And then this goes back to the remember, it's not what you see, it's what you know about what you see, because that's how you feel. If I could go back and just like look at where I was so lost and confused. No one was coming to help me, but I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think playing video games for 35 hours straight and eating garbage and staying up all night was bad. I had the wrong information. So if I can do all of this stuff, guarantee that you can too. I was afraid to pick up the phone and call strangers, but if I knew that calling strangers, or sorry, right here, I used to be afraid to pick up the phone and call strangers, but now I know that if I call strangers, I might be able to do something to make the world a better place. I am guaranteed, like guaranteed, there are too many human beings on this planet. There's literally a plethora of human beings. You're never going to be able to reach all of them in your entire life. Mr. Beast's video reached 1% of the world's population. Even Mr. Beast, the biggest person on YouTube, 1% of the population. 1%. That is nothing. And that is a huge person in the internet. Still 1%. So remember, you're going to reach like 0.0000000000001% of people in a day. And out of that really tiny, infinitesimally small percentage of people, you're still going to be able to generate money from it. 100 calls a day, guarantee you're going to make money from it. And you just get better at it in time. Like, first person that starts cold calling, they're like, oh, got 1, got 2, got 3, got 4, got 5, got 6. I got 20 people today. Awesome, sick. Was that hard? No. It's the fear that keeps you from getting to where you want to go. And then anxiety cannot be created nor destroyed, only converted from one form into another. So when one person feels anxiety and contracts the quality of your life, you need to expand the quality of your life. Everyone's going to feel anxiety. Boo hoo. I used to use it to run away and convince myself not to do shit. Now I know that anxiety that pops up, it's a little weird. Your heart's going to beat sometimes. It's going to feel really uncomfortable. If you start talking to people about your ideas and dreams and your heart's not pounding in a weird way, well, then congratulations. You started with some sort of special skill that I've never heard of. But when I started all this stuff, my heart would pound. I'd feel the anxiety. I'd feel the stress on the other side of the phone. This person can't hurt me. Why am I so stressed out? It's real. It happens. But you know what? People get over that shit because they know that the life they were living is way fucking worse than the life that they're about to create. But some people want to live within their problems. They want to live in the illusion because they fear the truth. That's why we give you that book up above. So, did you know it took me about 2 years to start doing this stuff? It took me 2.5 years to confidently speak up. I didn't start a TikTok till years later. Why? Because I was just afraid. And then the very first TikTok I make talking about the 50 brain cell challenge and creating an entirely unique concept so people can stop eating garbage in the grocery store. Notice how many people start doing the grocery store now. I'm not going to say that I was the beginning of that trend, but the 50 brain cell challenge went pretty viral. And then I started to see a lot of people out there in the grocery stores doing all these videos. And then when I went back and some of the really big people, I went back in their profiles just to see if they were ever doing it, and they weren't. So who knows? I don't know and I don't care. All I know is I've impacted hundreds of thousands of people's lives, and that's all that matters to me. Coming from somebody that used to play video games in a basement to that, what? And here's a takeaway. This was in the last video that I had, but it cut off a little bit. It was where we were talking about some people still want to stay in shit. I used to make $420 a week. So that's roughly, I think, $21,000 a year after taxes. Let's do the math. $420 a week times 52 weeks. Yeah, $21,840. I've made that in a fucking day. And that's not like some sort of flex on anybody. You can do that too. You just have to never give up, work hard, and build something that's helpful for other people. It's insane. You can reverse engineer almost anything. That's why I'm giving you this 17-page document over here, because it's like, hey, really apply these things, follow these things, think about these things, and realize where you're going to be able to get in like 2-3 years time. Imagine 10 years of time. I only built this company a year ago, well, a year and a few months ago. It's only been a year and a few months. And in one day, I've made more money than I used to make in a year. Money is not the solution to your problems. It's cool, it's great, but it doesn't make you happy. You're not going to get a sense of fulfillment from that. What can I do? Can I go travel somewhere? Yeah, sure. What's that going to do? I don't have anybody to travel with, so why would I travel? I'm just going to continue to do my work. Maybe one day in the future, I'll have somebody to travel with. Sounds great. But realize your anxiety is standing in your way. You are the only person standing in your way. Even when somebody gives you the keys, like, hey, here's how you do this, go do this. What do? You go do that. It's the subconscious. Has to be reprogrammed. If it is not, you will always divert back to what it knows best. So that nightmare smoothie you might got going up in there, you need to pour that shit out. Blend some other shit up, put it in there. New smoothie time, okay? So now imagine waking up every day and not doing what you want to do. Why do you keep doing what you don't want to do? Like, why do you keep waking up and doing the things that you don't want to do when you know that it is possible to change? Somebody else can change, so can you. What's the secret recipe? Time, energy, space. Really simple. So this is why we gave you the Einstein's observer effect document. Einstein's observer effect. Your entire reality is nothing more than a projection of your internal energy onto the mass in the universe. This is where you see the correct words lead you to the correct location and the incorrect words lead you to the incorrect location. How do you know you're not where you want to be unless you really understand that you're not where you want to be? Like, do you ever ask yourself that? Do you ever just look around you and think to yourself, am I where I want to be? And if I'm not, how do I get to where I want to be? It's really simple. When you change the internal dialogue with yourself, you will, when you change the internal dialogue with yourself, then you will in fact start going to the correct location by default. Like, you won't grab those flaming hot Cheetos off the shelf anymore that took you 9 months to stop eating. You won't go out to a bar when someone's like, hey, we're going out to the bar to party, want to come? And you're like, what? No. Like, if a bunch of your friends just work jobs that they hate, just banking on the fact that they're going to get a retirement from it, like, run the opposite direction. If you have any inkling of wanting to do better for yourself, GTFO away from all of that shit. So I know for a fact that I will never eat ice cream again after having eaten it for 20 years. I used to crush a 6-pack of Klondikes. Reese Klondike bars, num 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 num, the whole box. That's bad. That's really bad now that I look back and I'm like, geez, you were lost, my friend. You see, the thoughts that we've been taught to think don't always work. When you get older, you now have the skills and know how to change them. Why not change them a little bit faster? If you've been waking up in a place and doing things you don't want to do, you have a superpower necessary for change. And what I mean by this is, like, if you're genuinely the person who can show up to a job that they fucking hate and still do it, you're going to be so successful whenever you just start to do the things that you want to do, if you can manage your time. One of the biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs make is, one, charging too little for their services, and two, thinking that when they don't have a job that they have all this free time and they never actually properly manage their time, which is the biggest mistake and biggest causes of failures that happen. Otherwise, you would have succeeded somewhere that you failed because you didn't charge enough money for it. Otherwise, you would have succeeded somewhere where you failed because you were too busy wandering around thinking that, oh, you made $2,000 this month from something you love. It's going to feel great. But time to put your head back down and grind, because $2,000 is not enough money to do anything. Get to about 10,000 and then think about hiring your first person. And then once you hire somebody, there's no turning back, because you are now responsible for somebody else's life when you used to never be responsible for your own. Imagine that. If you've come from a place where you were barely able to keep the responsibilities that you needed in check, imagine when you decide to hire your first employee and now you have their responsibilities. You're responsible for them being responsible. It's a whole fucking different world. So, this is resilience at its best. If you're waking up and doing shit you don't want to do to get to where you want to be, imagine waking up and doing shit you want to do to get to where you want to be. You have resilience, which is a very important trait. Consider what will happen if you wake up and do the things you've always wanted to do. Imagine how much better your life would be if you're not sitting in a coffee shop aimlessly scrolling through your phone in silence like the people next to me. AKA, I was writing this while people were doing that next to me. Super confusing. I don't get it, but that's what people do nowadays. Like, I will not even bring my phone with me if I'm going out with somebody. Like, it just doesn't feel respectful. Bring one phone just in case a ravenous bear tries to maul us and kill us. We can call for safety. The life you want to live has always been there. You just can't see it because the thoughts you were taught to think don't support it. This is why when many people like make a lot of money really fast, you blow it all. This is why when you get the correct mentor, they're going to tell you, pay yourself this much money. Do not change no matter how much extra money you make. I still pay myself the same amount every single month. I don't fucking touch everything else. There's no point in it. You will literally lose your shit if you make too much money too fast because you won't know what to do with it. And if you think you know what to do with it when you never had money, then I'm confused why you didn't have money in the first place. So if you don't have a mentor or a financial advisor, somebody that's going to help you with finances, and you decide to, do what we do, and you start making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month, you need to find somebody that's better at managing money than you. If you genuinely have never managed money before in your life, you need to find somebody that's better at it because you will waste it. Many people will waste it. And when I first started, I wasted it. I didn't understand half the shit that I should have understood. So, boom, moving on here, blah, 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 blah. The life you want to live has always been there, blah, blah, blah. So trust me, I wanted to make a ton of money when I realized it was a thing online. It took me a very long time to build the proper mindset to support this action. Most important thing to understand in your life, it's been simply a collection of experiences you've had the opportunity to participate in. The frequencies and sounds define your understanding of reality. You've reached an age where you can change and influence the course of your life. You're capable of accomplishing anything, and the only thing that stands in your way is yourself. Nothing else will stop you except the thoughts that you have in your head. So we're about an hour and 20 minutes into this video, and let's go ahead and take a break really quick. I need you to get up. I need you to stretch. I need you to breathe air. I hope you're not in full zombie mode right now. So this is your moment here. Come back. I'm going to pause. You pause too, and then we'll both come back. So let's get to the reverse engineering process. Okay, this is where you want to pull out a paper and pen. You want to be able to write this stuff down. We have 6 more pages to go. What? Maybe 7 pages to go. Oh, lost my place. There's too much writing. Okay. So I need you to be very specific with the idea that you want to create. So write down, this is what I want. Like, write down the end goal. Like, what is it? Is it to do this? Okay, sweet. You got that? Does it already exist? Okay, so like, be serious with yourself. Like, is your idea unique, or is your idea just fucking the same thing that someone else has? If it's the same thing that someone else has, that's a good thing. It's going to solve problems like money, but it's not going to give you a sense of fulfillment and happiness. Like, you got money problems and you want to take the quickest route to solving your problems, sweet. Use the social media process, pick up the phone, say the same shit, outsell websites. Congratulations, you solved your money problems. Now it's on to find a sense of fulfillment and happiness. So write down your idea. Does it already exist? If it already exists, you do not need to reverse engineer it yourself. Just find somebody else that's living the life you want to live and go to them. You literally, like, that is literally what you would do. Like, you want to be successful with e-commerce, go pay whatever e-commerce coach out there is going to hopefully not screw you over, and you can buy their e-commerce stuff and they can magically make you make numbers. Half this shit on the internet just blows my mind. Like, oh, we'll build you a store for $11, and if it doesn't make money within this many months, we'll give you your money back. Wait, what? Super confusing. But that's the reality that we live in. Get rich quick. No effort at all. You can be dumb as rocks. Just buy this, and then you make money. But you're still dumb as rocks. So buy it anyways, because you're dumb as rocks. Like, that's how I feel like some of the advertisements go when I watch them. I'm like, how do people fall for this stuff? Like, they're not even going to educate you on the proper mindset that it's going to take to support the fact of even knowing what to do if you did start to make money. And then you buy a course and they don't educate you on ads. I'm like, so go over to the online income page. Enjoy learning how to run ads for your e-commerce store. If you want to buy an $11 e-commerce store from somebody and assume that they didn't copy, paste, create this, and everyone else is selling the same product as you, best of luck. The fastest way to live the life is pay whatever a coach costs and hire them. If you want to be in the same place as somebody else or get on the path to get there very quickly, pay somebody whatever they're worth. I've hired plenty of coaches in my life. Some I regret, some I don't regret. Some charged way too much money, and some people taught the same exact shit, which is really interesting and weird. Some suck, others don't. This is the risk versus reward in reality. I've had many coaches that have helped me with many different parts of my journey. The second is to buy a course from a person who sells things. Second is to buy a course from someone who is going to teach you the things you want to learn more about. I've been through hundreds of courses. If I don't know something and I want to understand it, I just buy a course because it's a tax write-off. It's education. It's a no-brainer. Like, go buy a course. You want to improve your life? Go buy a course, learn it, apply it, find out if it works. Some do, some don't. Watch the review from Josh. He went through affiliate marketing, made like $4. Went through a real estate course, made $0. Went through our course, made all his money back from all the other courses plus some. Fucking on track to make more than his goal money. It's not hard. You just literally got to be able to do it. Like, I give you exactly what I do. So the only reason it doesn't work is because you're the common denominator. You're the one that didn't want it to work. You're the one that failed. It's the only reason. I'm glad I can finally say that now after the results we've gotten from other people. So when I tell you buy a course, buy a course. It's either continue the same life that you have or learn how to do the internet. I've gone through so many courses and none of them taught me how to read books. None of them even educated me like this. They weren't like, hey, all right, look, let's be real clear. You're trying to create something new, or you're trying to create the same thing I have. Trying to create the same thing I have, don't recreate the wheel. Do exactly what I tell you to do. Congratulations. It's not going to make you happy, but congratulations. You at least aren't poor anymore. I wish that's what people would have told me in courses. Like, you want to be happy? Sick. You're going to have to make money and then invest in a real life. Not do the same thing as somebody else and expect to be happy. It's not how it works unless that's your actual dream. Then you can be happy from it. Fucking win-win. So, we move on from this. Okay, the slowest way is to study from the outside looking in. Right? Like, you can read all the books that we give you. You can watch all these documents. You can try to figure all this out yourself. You're more than welcome to. More power to you. I'm just an avid course buyer, and I happened to one day create a course because one of my friends was tired of getting scammed. He got scammed by somebody online and said, dude, why won't you teach people what you do? And I said, I don't really want to go down the road where people just blabber at you because you're some sort of scammer because everyone else is a scammer. It's just energy that I didn't want in my reality. But here we are with multiple coaches, and it's going to get even bigger. So by the time you're watching this video, there's probably 6 coaches, so there might be 26 coaches in it. I don't know where I'm going to stop, and I don't know how big we're going to get, but I want to build the biggest program on the internet. So when you realize money goes in circles, you'll be less afraid to spend it. I used to literally never invest in myself at all. I'm like, buy a book? Nah, buy drugs. Oh, invest in bettering myself? Nope, I'm going to go ahead over here and buy some items on a video game. I was the worst person with money. You will solve that problem in time. Like, once you start recognizing, oh no, like, where did all my money go in a day? Oh, I don't have any left. Oh, geez, how did that happen? Oh, gee, look at all this stuff I spent money on that's totally useless for me. So I came from a very financially insecure lifestyle, and I would never dare invest money in myself. Nowadays, I don't even care. Like, someone's like, this logo you see right here, $2,000. Someone said, yeah, about $2,000. Here's how I do my process. Give you QRs. I said, great deal. Handshake. I don't even care. $2,000 for that sounds great. You're going to solve my problem. Awesome. Handshake. Move on. Didn't even think any more of it. I reached my hand out first and said, that sounds like a fucking deal. And I just wanted to get it done because I'm not going to sit there and like haggle somebody on their price or worry about this, that, or the other thing. That is just definitely not me. So not investing in myself was the single biggest regret in my life. I actually got a screen cap today. Let me show you this really quickly. Somebody sent a message in the Discord, which was really cool. This makes me excited, so I repost it back up, obviously. This is all the books that they're reading. I was like, heck yeah, they ordered all the books. So they're on the right path for success. Like, read the books, get the mindset, and then whatever skill that you apply to your life, you're going to be super good at it because you have the mindset to support being good at it. Now, I'll give you a simple example, okay? Obviously, I sell a course. About 3% of people that join it take it seriously. Based on statistics, the hardest part you're going to find are people that take life seriously. Like, that's like a real thing. Like, there is a real reason why some people make it and other people don't. Some people just do not take shit seriously. So I can tell you, based on statistics, the people that are over 6 figures, about 3% of people that take it seriously. It's fucking insane to me. It's insane that people buy it and never start it. You're like, at first I was confused. I'm like, why do people buy this and not start? I'm like, what's going on over here? And then you get somebody that buys it and blows through it in a month, and you're like, dang, dude. And then they're like, yeah, I joined late November and I'm making 9K. And I'm like, sick. Like, let's talk. Like, that to me is a top performer. That is somebody that I want to talk to. But like, how did you use it? What did you do? Which means somebody might join for weight loss. People that take it seriously, somebody joins for weight loss, loses 90 pounds. Somebody joins for money, reaches over 20K a month. Option A, remember, you can be the outsider looking in and being like, well, I wish I understood that. You can. Millions of people out there in the world are willing to share the most intricate details of their life so you can once again have that option for yourself. Like, you need to recognize when it's time to concede your reality for someone else's. You're not going to lose your personality. You're still going to be the same idiot that you used to be, or at least I am, but you're still going to understand when it's time to be a goofy idiot and when it's time to be like, yeah, we can restructure that deal 100%, but we're going to have to reevaluate. because we decided we were going to add an account manager. I mean, fucking, I'm making that up. Sorry. So give you a deal. Somebody was doing $3,000 a month. They wanted to pitch us for $1,500. I said, absolutely, we can meet you at $1,500, but we have to restructure this deal. We set it up to have a full-time account manager managing your account, and then we also wanted to use a virtual assistant for the sales script. So we can definitely meet you at $1,500, but we have to restructure our deal. If that's okay with you, we can have another meeting. We'll come up with a restructured plan. We'll present it to you. That's the type of shit that it's like, do you know how to do that? Not how to do that, because people are going to try to discount your services left and right. They're going to be like, oh, do you offer discounts for this? Why don't we offer payment plans for our diet services? Because one person screwed us. We bought the test for them. They screwed us. I said, never again. Nope. One person ruined it for everybody. So now it's upfront payments that covers the cost of the test, that covers the cost of the payroll, that covers the sales tax, that covers the $0 I make. Yeah, we sell a service where I make $0. That's the stuff that you're going to learn in time, where the empirical evidence that we gather from testing is worth more than selling it for double the cost that it currently is. So this way we're able to get volume, we're able to get results. So when it comes time for me to start making claims about people's health, I have empirical evidence because I've been testing for the past year and a half. Wait till it's been 10 years into testing. This is the infinite game, not the finite game where, oh, go eat this. Okay, I'll eat that. Not the right thing to do. So you can learn from the outside looking in. Anybody can listen to somebody do something and think that they get it. Option B, buy a course that teaches you exactly what that person does. You hope that the person has transparency. I tell you that you hope that the person has transparency because I've been through so many courses that said, go do this, but then they never tell you why you're doing it. And then you're a little bit lost. And then option C is hire somebody as a coach that can help you live the exact life that you want to live. Like, be clear on the expectations. Like, what does this look like? What am I going to get from this? Oh, you're going to get this. I know for a fact that anyone who takes what we sell seriously will be successful. The key, realizing the thoughts that you've been taught to think don't actually work, and there are in fact better ones. I can't tell you how much I created my own suffering. And if that resonates with you in any way, shape, or form, where you have suffering in your life, you have problems in your life, you create the suffering, you create the problems. No one else. That is the biggest possible thing I could hope I get to you in this document right there. Is you create your problems, you create your suffering, and you will create the solutions to them. And then you'd be like, dang, I don't have problems anymore. What do I do? Well, I don't know. You'll figure it out. The longer it takes you to concede your reality to someone else's, the longer it's going to take you to create the life that you want to be living. Everybody has always probably done something that you're already doing, unless it's some insane, crazy, unique idea that nobody else is doing. So this is the main key to the reverse engineering process. The process is to solve the problems that you've been taught to think about. You're the one that's thinking about them, so you're the one that has them. Like, I am very aware of the problems that I used to have. You must be willing to want to solve those problems and do the work necessary for the change to take place. So remember, the space you're in is equal to the energy you have that explains the mass in the universe, and that mass can only be positive, negative, or neutral. People in your life, you know if they're positive, negative, or neutral. You know how much I kind of laugh inside when I hear like, oh, someone's like, oh, Christmas, my family's coming over and it's going to be terrible. And I'm like, why even spend time with them? What, they got some sort of special place in reality because they gave birth to you? Doesn't make sense to me, but that's what everyone else does. Same thing with New Year's. Oh, family's coming over. Man, I don't want to do this. And I'm like, why do you do it then? And they're like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, wow, that's a really good way to live life. You don't want to do something. And when someone says, well, why don't you not do it? They say, well, I don't know. Yeah, think about it. Maybe I had the broken reality enough to the point where I'm not afraid to separate from somebody. Like, you cause more problems than you add benefit to my life, I'm never talking to you again. You got a negative outlook on reality, see you later, bye. It's not worth it. It's your time. You're the one that gets to waste it, nobody else. You choose to waste it if somebody is wasting your time. So when someone says, you're a waste of my time, nope, 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 nope. You're choosing it. You're wasting your time. Nobody can waste your time, only you can, because you choose where to spend it. And if you didn't have enough information and you spent it in the wrong place, that's your fault for not having enough information. I can't tell you how many times I've gone on a date in my past, and they were all wastes of time. But guess what? I was dumb, and I didn't understand my time, didn't love myself, didn't respect my own energy. So of course, every single day I was wasting my time. Now, where do you plan to be in 1 year's time? It's possible. No one can stop you. Like, when I tell you that no one can stop you, no one can stop you. There's not a single thing that anybody can do that can stop you. Except, obviously, we know the ladder there, but people aren't that crazy nowadays. No one can stop you. No one can stop you. No one can stop you. No one can stop you except yourself or the lack of information that you have about what you're trying to do. If you have the information, go use it. It's that simple. So Where are you going to go and why? It's the biggest question to ask yourself. Why? And side note, I'm on my TikTok live. I'm always live on my TikTok. I just asked a person. Somebody requested a live, and I was talking about not wandering around the universe. Like, don't be the person that wanders around the universe. I accept a live from somebody, and I said, "You just wandered around the universe?" And he says, "Yeah, pretty much, man." And then I close out the live. I can't tell you how many people just squander reality. They don't take it seriously. They get older and they realize, well, life isn't what I thought it was. Yeah, it is, because you were the one that thought it was what it is. You're the one that is thinking and creating what it is by the thoughts that you have. You're the observer of energy. You're the one creating it, observing it. You're interfacing with it. Your energy, your version of the universe, not mine. So when you look at reverse engineering, there are only two types of ideas that you can create. Simple concepts that are usually a carbon copy of someone else's with a few model changes. You can see this in real life by looking at Lyft and Uber or Airbnb and VRBO. You can see that these are similar business models, they just have a different name on the top of it. There's no difference between the two. So when it comes to creating a simple idea, it's not that hard. You just probably need to have capital at that point in time. So if you plan to copy someone else's idea, it usually takes capital. Of course, here I am repeating myself literally with the same thought that I knew would come next actually came next because I wrote this. So anyways, there's not really many thoughts to think. These ideas solve finite problems such as money. In every way, shape, and form, complex ideas are unique. Complex ideas will solve complex problems like lack of happiness or meaning in life. I mean, it's almost 8 p.m. and here I am still recording a document. Obviously, I took a little bit of a break. The video ended, the sound cut off, and I said, no, not again. I was just talking to my computer for about, 30 minutes, no sound. Absolutely the best feeling ever. When you're like, you know what? I love talking to my computer and not recording any sound. It's so fun. But guess what? This is the type of energy that you can't get upset over something like that. And you're like, well, guess I'll record it again. Oh, I messed up 2 hours of video. Guess I'll record it again because I love what I do. And I hope you eventually love what you do and you'll be in that place too. So complex ideas will solve complex problems like lack of happiness or meaning in life. Waking up every single day and creating something that doesn't exist is really fun. You cannot copy something someone else is creating until it's been created. This website is an example of something complicated that'd be very hard to recreate. There's no manual for how I was supposed to create this information, so I did my best. I realized that the world needed a program that solves more than one problem at a time, so I created one by paying attention to everything that didn't exist when I needed it most. My mindset sucked. My diet sucked. My income sucked. My understanding of the world sucked. So I made sure, hey, all right, we'll build an online income page. We'll show people how to make money for free. So even if they can't afford the reset button program, they can go make money for free and afford the reset button program. We'll give them an entire health page, introducing them to the concepts, giving them outlines. There's 183 pages of information and over 30 hours of videos for free. That's more than a majority of people's courses. Like, people sell courses that cost more than mine, that have less content, that have like 3 hours of content. I think there's like 300 hours of content plus. This ain't no game. Everything that I needed that didn't exist now exists for you. So the common denominator of failure in reality becomes the self. I wish I would have known that I was the reason for failure in my life. Dang, that sucked a lot. Whenever I had to realize that, I'm like, oh, I can't find love because I don't love myself. And anybody that tries to love me, I think it's gross and I push them away. Yeah, I wish I would have known that because I let go of a lot of good people. And now one day, one person will walk into my life. I ain't never fucking letting go. I'm like, I'm going to keep you in the basement. No, I'm just kidding. You're not going to have to hang out. You don't have to go in the basement. Don't worry. You can hang out on the couch. So anyways, so I created one by paying attention to everything that I needed that didn't exist when I needed it most. Think about all the amazing ideas that are created that did not exist before and now they do. So your next step is to ask yourself which idea you want to create and why. Like, think about that. Like, why do you want to create something? Is it something you're passionate in? If it is and you can make money from it, sick, awesome. If it's something you're passionate in and you can't make money from it, you better go back to the drawing board and do something that generates you income. Hopefully it's passive, so then you can spend your time on something else. Like, I can tell you, most people that are into art really severely underestimate the business factors of art. That is, once again, remember, the only reason they fail is because they severely underestimated the correct use of their time, or they're severely undercharged for their services. And in the case of art, it's like, I consulted with somebody that did art before and I said, yo, how many paintings do you have in your house? They're like, I don't know, 80, 90. How many paintings do you have sitting on the wall of businesses that are around you? None. How the hell is anybody going to buy your art when it's sitting in your room? And then I shut up and just sat there and let the wheels spin. So The simple must eventually become complex, so your ideas will be known by all. Like when people go into e-commerce, they think, "Oh my god, I'm going to be rich from e-commerce." You find a product that works, I guarantee you every other drop shipper that has half of a brain is snapping their fingers and somebody on their team is recreating your entire store, your entire advertisement strategy with small variations, maybe selling it for a little bit less than you because they're better at marketing, and you, my friend, lose. So there is no way that anyone can recreate the direction of what we're doing right now because I have about 4 years of information to create. Like this is just the mindset page. There's a health page, there's a wealth page, there's a mindset page, and there's going to be more pages with more specific information with 17-page documents on them. I dare somebody to recreate 17 pages of information that they've been applying and recreating in their own reality and then compartmentalize it and serve it to somebody else. I hope more people do because that'd be awesome. Some competition would be gravy. Nah, just kidding. Do whatever you want with your life. So when you create a simple e-commerce store, anyone can replicate it. In fact, most people in the space will replicate it because it's the path of least resistance. Once again, the path of least resistance can be taken if you have capital. If you have capital, spend that shit. Path of least resistance, congratulations. If you don't have capital, there is no least resistance. It is pure resistance in every way, shape, and form. You're like, I want that. Oh, can't afford that. I want to do this. Oh, can't afford that. That's resistance as hell. So in fact, most people who are in the space will replicate it in path of resistance, yada, yada, yada. This is why most people start this business model fail. You know how many people want to be successful at e-commerce that aren't successful at e-commerce? Literally everybody and their mother. Like you will have to create maybe 13, 14 e-commerce stores, spend thousands of dollars figuring out marketing strategies before you find a winning product. And then when you find a winning product, congratulations, you make money from it. Then you got to still factor in your advertisements, your tax, and your margin on your product, and you barely make any money at all. It is not sustainable, does not make sense. So use the way that we teach our commerce is to go to real businesses that people already know and build them e-commerce stores. Like go to a really successful breakfast place in your town and build them an e-commerce store and then create a little thing where the server says, hey, if you buy a shirt from our website, you get 10% off breakfast when you come back next Sunday. And then everybody's wearing t-shirts. And then everybody starts to talk to everybody in line. And then everyone gets FOMO. And then congratulations, you're doing like $1,000 a week in an e-commerce store for a freaking breakfast place. When you went to go work for them for free, then they start paying you to manage their entire social media platform because you've just proven them to the fact that you're able to generate them income. Hey, you don't know me and I don't know you, but let me do this because this is a cool idea that I have that I'm pretty sure I can make you money. And then, oh, look, I made you money. Congratulations. I wanted to work for free just to try out a unique idea because I don't own a breakfast place, but I know you do. And I'm good enough at communication that I'm going to convince you to be able to build this for free to try out an idea that I have. You're going to get that good at this stuff if you decide to follow the things that I teach you. Communication is literally going to allow you to have whatever you want in this world. And once again, remember, no one can stop you except you. So go do whatever makes you happy. And always tell the truth. Truth and transparency and trust are the 3 T's that you must follow. Because the last thing you're going to want to do is worry about some shit you did that was wrong, and then that shit's going to come literally bite you in the ass one day. So just be utterly transparent with everything. It is not worth lying. I did that shit in the past, and somebody would always be like, well, you said you weren't talking to that person. And I was like, I'm not. And then they're like, there's text from them. And I'm like, oops. Just makes you feel dumb when you do that stuff. So you're creating something that anyone else can create, which drives up the price. This is with e-commerce. So let us begin with your concept. What distinguishes it? Is it already in place? What will be required to make it happen? Like, what do you genuinely have to do? Do you have to go read books for the next 2-3 years? Then go do that. Don't just magically think, I'm going to create this unique, innovative idea with zero information about how the world works. Don't do it. I waited years and years and years to speak up, even when I knew that other people were speaking wrong. I wasn't trying to correct them. I wasn't ready to start speaking. And I still have been turning down a lot of things in my life because I'm just not fully there. I'm like, maybe at the end of 2023, I'll start taking these podcast invitations and doing all this other stuff. But right now, I'm pretty happy with not being super busy with shit that I don't want to be busy with right now because there is a lot of content left to be created for people when they do find out about this. They're going to have every question answered that they had. And that's like the beauty where it's like, a year and a half ago, we didn't have any of this stuff. And then now we have all of this plus more. So it's just awesome. Like anybody that finds this stuff now, like if it's 2023 and you found this business, everything you see here didn't exist at one point in time. Like about a year and a half ago, none of this stuff existed. So what would be required to make it happen? Depending on the idea that you want to develop, it might take a lot of creative thinking that others haven't thought. This is really important. Like how many people are thinking the same thoughts as somebody else? Well, you can either think those thoughts or you can find better ones. You can live and this is a key takeaway right here. Like if you're taking anything away, check this out. You can live a good life if you rely on the answers of others, but in order to live a great life, you must rely on your own. Don't be ashamed if you've not found your own answers. They will come in time. My ultimate goal here is to help you have the internal dialogue about how truly limitless you are. So the limit to your answers is the limit of your imagination. This answer might be correct now, but you should always continue to revisit in the future. Like information, your imagination continues to expand. When I started creating this website, I realized that everything that I needed didn't exist when I needed it. So I decided to keep track of everything I needed when this is totally just a mind F sentence. When I started to create this website, I realized that everything I needed didn't exist when I needed it. So I decided to keep track of everything I needed when I needed it and made it available to others. Wow, word plethora. Because, like, yeah, go check out everything for free. Like, real entrepreneurs teach how to make money before they ask you for money. Duh. Because I know how to go make money from what I do and I teach you. So the money that I make from all this stuff means nothing. This is why you will find so much free information, because I've never seen anyone take the time to create this information. If you choose to follow these steps, they will not be easy, and if they were, everybody would take them. Everybody would be financially free. Everybody would be healthy. Everybody would be happy all day long. Yet, if you decide to grow on TikTok, you'll have that one person that comes back that's like, oh, the only reason people make courses is because, like, they're not successful and they couldn't figure it out and blah. And it's like, yo, what are you even talking about? Oh, that's right. That's a reminder of the scattered random energy in the universe. And I literally accepted live from somebody else again. And guess what? I said, you wandered around the universe. And they said, yeah. It's insane how many people wander around the universe. Promise you, if you stop wandering, you'll start being able to do some things you didn't know you could do. So we're moving on here, capable of great things. Consider the fact that if you've read this far or listened this far, you're one of the few that are capable of great things. Like if you've literally been listening for an hour and 50 minutes of somebody educating you on something, you have everything that it takes. You literally have everything that it takes and you don't even know it, because most people can't pay attention for more than 10 minutes. Most people can't pay attention for more than 3. If you ever watch on like a viral video on TikTok, like 6.6 million, 30 million, 50 million, 100 million views, the fall off goes like this. Boop, 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 boop. People are interested, passes that 30-second mark, boom, massive drop off on like almost every viral video that exists. It's just, then people go do their own thing. It's very real. The attention span in the world is absolutely doo-doo caca pee pee. Doo-doo caca pee pee. You know what that's from? What is that from? Doo-doo caca. We're getting off topic here, sorry. So anyways, the 99.2% of people will wander around the internet aimlessly, looking to fill their energy with time and create space that takes them nowhere. I spent my time and energy creating this space to take you everywhere. The person who's willing to think the thoughts that no one else dares will always be called crazy, but I'd rather be called crazy than nothing at all. So one of the main key components of reverse engineering is having a freaking schedule. Read the book called The One Thing or follow the Homeostatic Line PDF. There's literally a 20-page outline, day by day, exactly what you would do. Like wake up in the morning, stretch in your bed, breathe some air, put your book in, go get on a bike, exercise, get back, do some yoga, take a freezing cold shower, and start your day working. Meditate in the middle of the day, continue your day, get off work, maybe exercise if you want to exercise twice, work on your dreams, play your affirmations, go to bed, break your fast, maybe or maybe not, listen to your affirmations when you sleep at night, wake up in the morning, and repeat it every single day, the same thing. The part that people say is like mundane, or they're like, oh, like this, that, and the other thing. Or like when I talk to my phone, I'm not over here expressing dopamine. So some people are like, you seem angry. No, I just don't really like to express my feelings into my phone. That's just a part of the thing that I've agreed to with myself, because when you see people in reality, that experience you get, the oxytocin that you get from a real person, your phone can create that. But I don't want my phone to create that for me. So no thanks. Like I keep a very clear personality when I'm here. I'm like not reacting in any way, shape, or form. And if people want to, call me something because of that, they're more than welcome to, because I know my life. I don't think random people scrolling around the internet really know my life very much at all. So the most important part of creating a life that you want to live is understanding what you're doing with time. Remember in the top of this document when we were talking about dopamine, time, and impulsivity of humans. Time flies when you're having fun. Time goes slow when your dopamine is low. So be very aware of that. Remember, the space you're in is equal to the energy you have, which explains the mass in the universe. Think about what you're doing right now. If you're reading this document, then you're learning more about the life you want to be living. This is a good place if you're trying to improve the quality of your life. Now ask yourself, what were you doing yesterday? Were you doing something that improves the quality of your life or not? Think about this for retrospect. It's probably 8:15. It's actually 10:15 in some other places. It's like 7:15 in some other places. People are probably at the bar tonight drinking alcohol. And there are people probably at the bar drinking alcohol that are definitely not where they should be in life. But distracting yourself away, which is living in illusions and the fear of truth by Osho, just drink yourself into a better consciousness. Those people exist still. Millions and hundreds of millions of them. And you have the chance to create something amazing that changes your life and the lives of others forever. It's not as hard as you think once you realize people you're competing against, they're not going to do that at all. And maybe I'm the anomaly once again, where somebody's like hanging out, they're, having lunch with each other, and I'm like, sounds great, I'm going to grab my shit and leave. I got stuff to do. My missing friendships, probably, but that's okay, because one of the biggest things I can tell you about friends is that you're only friends with the people that you're friends with because of what you know. Like, your thoughts mirror their thoughts, therefore you're friends. People are not friends with people that have completely different concepts on reality. So, like, when it comes down to that, I realize that the friends that I create now are also other people that are entrepreneurs that like can go do whatever they want with their life. They love what they do. They're super happy, and the energy is just there. Like, it's intense and insane. The difference between talking to somebody who hates their life and talking to somebody who loves their life, who is absolutely waking up every day, living the dream. Talking to those people, shit, massive energy immediately, smiles on your face. Like, I love going through and recalling people that I've talked to in the past because they're always positive conversations. So anytime I don't know what to do, or anytime I'm feeling like I'm downtime, I will literally just recall people that I've talked to in the past. I don't care if it's a client that I'm working with or not. I'll just call them to talk to them. You should always be using your energy properly when you first start all of this, because the biggest mistake is not expanding into the universe enough. Remember, anxiety cannot be created nor destroyed, only converted from one form into another. So you can use it to contract or expand. Use it to expand. Life will be much better because of it. Now you have to ask yourself, like, what were you doing? Can you quantify what you were doing yesterday and how it adds up to today? Like, if you ask any single person that would go to a bar to drink alcohol, how going out and drinking alcohol made their day better tomorrow. To me, no clue. I'm sure people do it as a social lubricant. Sounds fun, sounds great, but absolutely just not the correct environment. I'll tell you that it is way more fun to go somewhere, stay in an Airbnb, wake up really early in the morning, go on a beautiful hike somewhere you've never been, which stimulates neurogenesis, by the way, the birth of new brain cells in the memory and learning center. Yeah, brain cells. Go on a hike to somewhere beautiful and just be taken away by it. Camp somewhere in the mountains, and that sounds like 10 times better. Like, you will, it's just your friends. Some friends are like, let's go to the bar. Some friends are like, let's go on a hike to like this amazing forest. I'll drive. And you're like, sounds fun. Like, just do it. Just do it. Find better friends. You'll be glad you did. What are your plans for tomorrow? These are the questions you need to find the answers to, because they help you understand the direction of your life. Think about it like this. I spent about 4 years educating on myself on topics that I discuss here. My first TikTok video went viral because I invented an entirely new concept that no one has ever heard of. To create this, I had to spend years believing that I was correct, only to realize that I was incorrect. So, like, I thought at one point in time when I started learning about mitochondrial dysfunction, that the ketogenic diet, making you function on a higher mitochondrial energy, was the source of all the problems. And I said, nope. Well, that's not the solution. That's not the source either. That's, dang it. What's the gut microbiome? What the hell is neurogenesis? What BDNF? Brain derived neuro freaking what? So remember, how do you know what you don't know until you continue to read books until they repeat themselves? And then you might be safe saying, okay, last 10 books I've read taught me nothing. It's just another person teaching the same thing in a different way. Like, there are only so many people teaching a mindset that can teach a mindset in a different way. It's just somebody saying it from a little bit of a different perspective. Like, how do you go make money? Oh, you pick up the phone and call people. How do you do that? Well, you pick up the phone and you dial numbers, and then you use a script, and then you deal with the anxiety, because everyone's going to feel the anxiety. But remember, use it to contract or expand the quality of your life. Anxiety cannot be created nor destroyed, only converted from one form into another. It's just a feeling. One person's nightmare, another person's dream. One person's dream, another person's nightmare. When that parallel exists, you choose which one you want. So I tried and tested these concepts myself, so I know they work. This is why I can finally say out loud, the only reason people fail in our program is because they didn't want to be successful. You are the common denominator of failure. The sooner that you or I accept it 100%. When I fail, it's 100% my fault. I was missing information. I failed. It was my fault. I was wrong. Once you learn to accept that you might be the common denominator of failure, success is so simple. It's not, you're a failure. Oh, no, I'm not. Yeah, I am. I fucked up. How can I improve? Please teach me. I've gone to my mentor before and asked questions. I said, hey, I have a question about this, this, and this. And they said, have you ever read this book? And I said, no. And they said, all right, go read that book. Talk to you later. And then I'm like, oh, okay. And then I come back and I'm like, oh, huh. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I get it. Thanks. Appreciate you. Any other questions? Nope. Okay. Bye. And then hang up. It's like, dang. Okay. So, like, that's the good stuff where they're going to push you in the right direction, but they also don't want to waste their own time educating you. So, this is why we create all these documents, because I just don't want to, like, when you come to me with a problem, I want to be able to solve it in like every single possible way that you could imagine. So, like, at least right now, I know there's probably like 80 hours of free content, hundreds, over 200 pages of documents, all for free. So anybody that's diving into this lifestyle gets to learn everything that they want about it. And then if they want to work with us, cool. If they don't, cool. Doesn't matter. Matter can't matter unless it matters to you. So what matters to you? Doing it yourself or working with somebody else? So they only fail because they didn't want it to work. If you fail at this, you're the common denominator of failure. Like, if somebody's sitting down and spending 2.5 hours with you, educating you on a topic and telling you to do something and you can't figure it out, try again later. Maybe watch it over again. I've reread so many books to understand them that it's funny. So it's time you accept that you might actually be the problem. When you start to think about problems, you'll realize that they don't actually exist. You make them exist. Now you know why the change you want to happen has not happened. You're not ready for it to happen. Something about something about the life that you've been living sounds better than the life that you're about to live. And for me, yeah, like, opportunity would present itself, and I'd be like, nah, nope. I'm gonna mess up. I'm gonna fail, and I'm gonna keep myself defeating behaviors, and I'm gonna stay in the same place and not improve my reality. In order to create this information, like what you're looking at right now is pure sacrifice. Like, could have I probably, flew back to Pittsburgh today and went and hung out with old friends or something? Yeah, sure. But did they text me? No. So am I going to text them? No. So should I be the one that creates that interaction? No. I'm just going to continue to do what I believe I should do, and I'm going to live a better life because of it, because everything I've been doing has been working for me 10 million times over, and I'm never going to change. So in order to create this information, I had to sacrifice nearly every part of my life. I realized that everybody that I was friends with, I was only friends with because we had similar thoughts. They were poor, I was poor. They ate crap, I ate crap. They hated their jobs, I hated my jobs. You see that, oh geez, apparently I can't spell. You see that we're just like gravity. W-E, let me fix that. You see that we are just like gravity. Well, I just can't spell. So you see, we are just like gravity, drawn to a version of mass that we can identify with. This is why we talk about space. The space we're in is equal to the energy you have that explains the mass in the universe. Like, once you start recognizing that the only reason you are where you are is because people have a similar version of reality as you, that's how it works. Like, if everybody was on a soccer field playing soccer, and then one team wanted to play soccer with their hands, and the other team wanted to play soccer with their feet, just think magically, like, parallel reality happened. The whole team over there just had a parallel reality, and now they play soccer with their hands, and we live in a reality where we play soccer with our feet. Everyone's going to be so confused at the people. They're like, why do they keep touching the ball? People over there are going to be like, why do they keep touching with their feet? But then everyone in the stands that exists in the reality that's observing what's happening is going to be confused at the people touching it with their hands. So the people that are in fact touching it with their feet are correct. The people that are touching it with their hands are incorrect. But the people that touch it with their hands think the people with their feet are crazy. So, like, you might find sanity in insanity, if that makes sense to you. Like, I ate crap, everyone else ate crap. When I don't eat crap, I look at everyone else that eats crap like they're crazy. They think I'm crazy for not eating crap. So it's just going to be the same thing. Like, you're crazy for thinking I'm crazy for being healthy. Get away from me. That's like the stand up for yourself when, you might stretch in a weird place and someone's like, look at that weird person. Yeah, fuck yeah. Think I'm weird for being healthy? Get effed. That's what you would really not do, because at the end of the day, you need to learn to protect your energy. I just wouldn't do that. But that's when I didn't know how to protect my energy. I still had the little bit of aggression going on there, and I was like, yeah, get effed. Like, don't come over here and tell me I'm weird for being healthy. You're weird for thinking I'm weird for being healthy. Get away from me. Go play on your phone. Go do something stupid that young kids do. And then they left me alone and never bothered me again after that. And that was great. So step one, what is the idea you want to create or dream life you want to live? Remember, simple ideas solve the money problem and won't matter much 50 years from now. Complex ideas solve the happiness problem and will probably exist many years into the future if built correctly. They may exist after your death. Like, think about Einstein, right? E equals mc squared. Dude's entire life was summed up into EMC2, four freaking letters with an equal sign in between. Their entire existence. And then those who choose to learn can learn all about that. That's why we do the S equals EMC3, because we live in a three-dimensional reality. Energy, step two. What is it going to take to get there? Simple problems require simple amounts of energy. If somebody else is doing it, it's not that complex. Just go to them and give them money and then tell them to show me what you're doing, and then they'll show you what you're doing, and then congratulations, you can do it too. Complex ideas require complex energy. Anyone can copy something that someone else has created, which to me sounds extremely boring. Sounds very boring that you don't have a unique idea. Go figure something else out. Like, if you want to solve your money problems, go do something to solve your money problems and then sit down and contemplate. I wandered around the world for 2 years trying to figure out what it is that really actually made me passionate. And it was learning about health, understanding that so many people didn't understand certain information, and then knowing that information adds value to your life. So think about it in this way. Majority of people with a business want to make more money in their businesses if they have a brain. Some people just enjoy having a business so they don't have to work a job. There are literally people out there that you will run into in life that have businesses, and the only reason they have a business is because they just don't want to work for somebody else. So remember, not everybody wants to grow their business. But I felt like educating myself in that area because I felt like, you know what? Everybody has a business. Everybody always wants to improve. I needed to improve my finances, so I got really good at it. So then you can help other people improve their finances. That was one asset of education that I wanted to understand better than many other people. And I'm sure there's people that understand it better than me. But then it came to health. I didn't understand health. So I suffered with finances. I figured that out to the point where now I can help other people solve their financial problems. That's what happens when you never give up. So for me, it then came into eating healthy. I ate shit garbage. I figured out how to eat healthy. I never stopped reading. I never stopped researching. I never stopped applying. I never stopped helping other people. So those parts of reality, like my mindset was shit. Why do we have a whole mindset page? Because my mindset used to be absolutely crap garbage. I would literally create my own problems. I'd be like, solution? Where's the problem at? How can I mess this up? Oh, I can mess it up like that? Okay, I'm going to do that. So then we create that. So you'll realize you become the best teacher of something that you used to suffer with. Because if you actually have suffered with it, like here's what I'm convinced of. So many people out there talk about like being financially free and oh yeah, oh making $10,000 a month is stupid. No, you're insane. Making $10,000 a month for the average person would absolutely change their life. So when people say stuff like that, I'm just convinced that they've never been poor before. They've never struggled or suffered. Because for a person to say that making $10,000 a month is not a lot of money to somebody who's been making $2,000, $3,000 a month, you kind of just want to be like, lady, you're confused. $10,000 a month for the average person, like 80% of people in the world, is a lot of money. Like, I remember when I got my first $3,000 check, I said, whoa, because I never made $3,000 in a month of working in my life. And I just got a $3,000 check for running advertisements for a company. I was like, oh my God, this isn't going to take me any time at all. People that say that money doesn't solve problems, it doesn't. It really doesn't. It just gives you the ability to live a better life. You're still going to have to find things that make you happy. But if you're already happy and you have money, congratulations, you're good. But I'm convinced that people that tell you like, oh, like this isn't a lot of money, or like think about the internet right now. Everybody is deluded into this reality where they have to have fancy cars, make millions of dollars. It is toxicity. Like, I'm a guy, so the only videos I get when I go on like YouTube or something, they're all freaking Andrew Tate. Every freaking video is that person. And what this is doing to the young kids is making them into this like, oh, I need to stand up for myself. F the world. I need money. I'm worthless unless I have these things, which is so unhealthy for society for people to be thinking that way. Like, good Lord. I'll tell you, it's like median lifestyles. Like after you make like $80,000 at a job somewhere, you're not stressing for money. after you reach like $240,000 a year, you're really not stressing for money. You could go do more things, but at the end of the day, quality of life doesn't really increase after a certain amount of money. So like that's when it comes down to like, what kind of life do you really want to live? Like the fancy restaurant is eventually just going to be another fancy restaurant, and the dopamine you received the first time around is always going to be the best. But like the 20th, 30th, 40th, 50th time, like the 117th coffee shop that's in freaking Florida over here that looks cool is just another coffee shop. So do something unique. Create a unique resonant energy in the universe for people that are like, oh, I heard of that. And you're like, I've been fucking studying this for years. Now, number 3, the most important part. Most important part. Okay? How long is it going to take you to get there? Don't think it's going to take you a day, a week, or a month. If you have a problem with like realizing you're not where you want to be and you want to change where you are, you're going to be better off spending the next 6 months reading books on a specific topic. There are people out there, I know them personally. They read a book and they're like, oh my God, this is so amazing. Yeah, delusions. Apply it to your life. See if it actually works. Understand how it works because you've applied it to your life, and then teach it to somebody else. Because anybody out there that has actually been applying things to their life and is in a better position in life, you have to realize. I'll tell you, I was the first person to think low vibration conversation. You will realize, and I'll tell you this based on experience, just based on the calls that I get. One phone call sounds like I woke a person up off the couch. Whatever they were doing with their time definitely meant nothing to them. Next phone call I'll have are some people just inquiring, asking about the program, asking about the testing, asking about this. They got a little bit more questions. Third phone call, I watched everything. I'm ready to go. Just wanted to give you a phone call. I want to order the test, and I'm also getting in the reset button program. So you're going to have 3 different levels. You're going to have positive, negative, and neutral. Neutral are the ones in the middle. You're not sure which direction they're going. Negative are the dude sleeping on the couch, and the positive is the person that's already ready to go because they got time that they don't have to waste. Other people have time, and they will waste your time if you let them. So simple ideas will always, simple ideas will allow you to maintain your current lifestyle. It does not require much time to copy paste something that someone else has created. Like that's what people do with e-commerce. It's literally copy paste stores. So like you can do it, but if you fail, told you so. So complex ideas will not allow you to maintain your current lifestyle because you're going to have to completely change the way you live your life. And if anybody wants to get into e-commerce, our advice is, yeah, e-commerce, great. Have fun, try it out. It's good. You know, it's usually not sustainable unless you build something completely unique and you really put your time and energy into it. But the best way forward is to get a couple accounts for social media marketing, get like $5,000 a month, and then take 2,000 of that 5,000 and then go play with it in an advertisement strategy because marketing ads are tax write-offs for yourself. So if you're making $5,000 and you're taking 2,000 and you're using that 2,000 as a tax write-off for your marketing budget, congratulations. You don't got to pay that $2,000 in tax. So like you can go waste your money and try to figure out e-commerce, or you can do the right thing and then have capital available and then go figure out e-commerce. So let me give you an example of how I learned to reverse engineer my own problems. Space. I was depressed and wanted to fix this. Everything about my life was in the wrong place. I hated everything when I became conscious of the problems that I created for myself. Energy. I knew I needed to learn more in order to understand what was going on. The energy I needed was in the books and the research papers I have never read. And it was really hard for me to read. Seriously. Like coming from somebody with a 1.7 GPA in high school that was in emotional support classes that never had to read the books or do a senior project or finish my homework. Yeah, improving myself was really fucking hard. But I never gave up. Here we are, talking for hours about self-improvement documents. This is just one of the many on this page, and I hope you enjoy them all, and I hope you read the books up above too, because they're going to change your life. So, it took me a very long time to accept the new information was true. Like, I wouldn't believe stuff. I'd read something and I'd say, meh, maybe. And then I'd read it somewhere else and I'd be like, all right, maybe. And then I'd read it somewhere else and I'd be like, all right, it seems like this is true. Maybe I'll try it out. And then I'd read some more research papers. And then eventually I reverse engineered a research paper called The Hidden Mechanics of Depression for 2 years straight, finding out if this was actually one of the real reasons why people are getting depressed in reality. And guess what? Oh, it definitely is. I'll tell you right now, you don't exercise? Pfft, no duh, you're depressed. You don't eat healthy? No duh, you're suffering from anxiety and depression. There are very key things being a human that will cause you to have a shitty life if you don't pay attention to them. And I had to learn those through nothing but trial and error. Lots of failure. That's a big confidence builder right there. I know what I know and I know what I don't know. And I know if I don't know something, I don't talk about it because somebody else might understand it. And then if somebody understands something better than you do and you're talking about it and they know better than you do, you have the ability to get ripped apart. So you really need to be clear on the things that you know and the things that you don't know. Because the people that have actually been living a certain life, they'll be able to immediately know when you're living a fake life because they know better. That's how life works. So, anyways, remember, when you spend 20 years living the same, when you spend 20 years living a specific way, how many years do you think it's going to take to change this belief? It's a really big question. Like if you've been doing the same thing in your life for a very, very long time, think about weight loss. Remember, the longer you've been overweight is the longer it's going to take to lose the weight, but you're still going to be able to lose the weight. It's the same thing with change. The longer you've been doing the same thing, the longer it's going to take to change that same thing that you want to change. All right. So we know about the meditation. We know about the subconscious affirmations. Now you're going to learn about the timer. Set a 20-minute timer on your phone or smartwatch. When this timer goes off, you're going to take a few deep breaths. Focus on exactly what you need to do in order to get to where you want to be. Pay attention to how you feel in this moment. Look around yourself and see where you are. Is this where you want to be? And be honest with yourself. If you don't know what you need to be doing, consider hiring a coach or reading books until you achieve the aha moment, which we spoke about in the prior video. You know the, huh? What's that? Oh, that's what that is. Ah, I can see how that works. Aha, that's how that works. You have to go through those phases of thought before you reach the life-changing moments. If you're not willing to work through those phases of thoughts, you never reach the life-changing moments. AKA, psychopath philosopher in a coffee shop in a small town that I randomly ran into when I moved somewhere and sat at a coffee shop all day working. Glad I did that. That guy seemed batshit crazy until you sat down and realized that he's like, nope, it's the most sane person I've ever met in my life. He's just looking at the world like, he's like, I know I'm real, but I don't know about you. And then I'd laugh at him and I'd say, all right, I'm done with you for today. And then he'd say, ha, 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 and just walk off. Anyways, he's off his meds. Totally not worth talking to him anymore, but I definitely learned a lot of perspective from that psycho person. Everyone said he was psycho. I thought he was awesome. But then he started getting a little bit crazy for a while. And then he said something to me at one point in time, and I just never wanted to talk to him again after that. I said, look, man, I really love our conversations, but I don't want to have a fucking conversation with you ever again. And then I just never talked to him ever again because I protect my own energy. And when people disrespect my energy, no, thank you. Have a good day. Bye. So you'll notice throughout the day that you become unconscious of breathing, which allows the subconscious scripts to take over. Your default behaviors will take over if you let the subconscious gain control over the conscious mind. You'll continue in a straight line unless acted upon by that unbalanced force. This timer is your unbalanced force. You need to create unbalance to change the motion and direction of your reality. An object at rest remains at rest in a constant speed in a straight line unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. You need an unbalanced force in your life to make sure that you're able to comprehend where you are and where you want to be and what are the steps it's going to take to actually get there. This timer is the unbalanced force. The saying, time flies when you're having fun, is connected to dopamine, which removes your subjective sense of time. This lack in subjectivity and time disconnects your ability to consciously control outcomes. The same is true when saying, time goes slow when your dopamine is low. You now have the exact pattern interrupt necessary for all great things. There is no such thing as manifesting or whatever delusional talk someone's trying to fill your brain with. You must have a very specific action that causes a reaction. And in our world nowadays, people literally capitalize on other people's lack of understanding. I saw these checks where someone's like, manifestation bank account, write your dream amount of number on here, and then you're magically going to make it? What? What? I'm sorry. I get it. People want to feel positive about these things like, I'm this, I'm that. Yeah, listen to that stuff when you sleep at night. It might reprogram into your brain and then educate yourself on what you want. Like you have to have a very specific idea in mind and a very specific way to achieve that, or you're going to wander around the universe. And if somebody requests another live from me, I guarantee, well, probably if it's a random person, not somebody that's in my live already, but if a random person pops in and be like, you wander around the universe? So like, yeah, I guess. Well, there you go. Don't wander around the universe. You wander around the universe too long, you end up in the wrong place. So now we're going to finalize this with some other books that I'd like you to read. So if you're looking for flow, okay, so this is living at the peak of your abilities. And I can't even pronounce this person's name. You can see that. Let's actually try it. Mihaela Shizekzin. Nope. It's too many letters and weird places and things I can't pronounce. So This is where you're going to realize that making $2,000 a month is the same as making $20,000 a month. Like, you're going to go into flow. You're going to feel the same thing. It's not going to feel different. Like, they studied people for a while to prove this. And when you read this book and you read Habits of a Happy Brain, they talk to each other. So the timer, which is the reason we set this, let me give you a little bit of feedback here. So when this timer would go off for me, I was playing video games, smoking weed, eating candy, drinking energy drinks, eating ice cream, eating Cheetos. There was a book to my left that I knew I needed to start reading in order to help change myself. For the first few weeks, this timer went off. It was extremely hard to look at the current trajectory of my life. Like, imagine a timer going off and you're being like, I want to be this person with these things. And then you're like, but I'm this person with none of those things. That is going to suck. That's why I said you might make you feel a little depressed. You might get a little bit of anxiety. You might get really unhappy. So talk to your doctor, talk to your PCP, talk to somebody smarter than me before you try any random shit on the internet, because it might F you up. So boom, the first few weeks was hard. So I was setting myself up over the weekend to go back to the same job that I hated. Like, imagine that. Imagine that you use your time to do nothing but go back to the same place you didn't want to go. Like, if you don't want to be at your job, yeah, you're going to have to do a lot of stuff you don't want to do to get to where you want to be, or you're going to have to go back to your work on Monday. You can't just magically quit and then live off magical money. It doesn't work like that, unfortunately. So that entire week I would spend making sure that all I did on the weekend was play video games. Like, I would literally live my entire week doing nothing to improve my life, so that weekend I could play video games, so I could waste that whole weekend to go back to the job that I didn't want to go to anymore. If you follow the timer properly, you should start to have some sort of serious conversation with yourself. The space you're currently in is equal to the energy you have, which explains the mass in the universe. Interrupt the current of energy to change the current of energy. Like, if you pattern interrupt and remind yourself, like, if I want to wander around the universe, I say, hey, Bigsby, set a timer for 5 minutes.
I'll start your timer for 5 minutes.
And then I'll waste 5 minutes of my life doing something that I know is not useful. However, I don't like to do that anymore. So if you are conscious of time that you waste, maybe set a timer and say, you know what, for the next 45 minutes, I'm going to do this. And then only do that for the next 45 minutes. And then when your timer is done, find out whether or not you have the ability to listen to yourself, or you're just stuck doing something you don't want to do. Because if you tell yourself you want to do something and you don't do it, how many times have you wanted to do something? You said that you wanted to do it. You're like, that girl's so pretty, I should go tell her. And then you don't tell her. Or, you know what, I heard somebody say something, I should go talk to them. You don't talk to them. How many times have you had conversations with yourself about something that you wanted to do and never do it? Now multiply that. You've lost trust with yourself. So it doesn't matter what you tell yourself you want to do. You don't trust yourself anymore. And could you imagine how off trajectory your life would be when you don't even trust your own thoughts? I'll give you a good example. Most people say, what do I eat? They just want to be told what to eat. I don't know what you should eat. I have no clue what your genetics are. I have no clue what your nutritional status looks like. I have no clue what your gut microbiome looks like. I have no clue who you are as a person. But people in the universe would still rather be told what to do because they don't trust themselves with knowing what to do. It's this weird thing that I used to suffer from. I used to literally not trust a single thing that I knew. I would go to everybody else's thoughts, even if they were crap. They were better than my own. Think about it. Why do so many people read books and not change their life? Because they've been taught a bunch of thoughts and they never had to apply them to reality, or they don't trust themselves to apply them to reality. I just got off a phone call with somebody today that I'm coaching, and they said, you know what, man, yeah, it does suck. Like, to really recognize the only reason I wasn't doing those things is because I was worried about all this other shit. And I'm talking people that have way bigger problems than you and I. Like, not to give out anybody's personal information here, but let's say that there's a scenario where you have somebody that you were with and they tried to kill you, and then there's like jail stuff going on, crazy things happening. Like, I'm talking real life problems. And if those people are able to be successful and get it figured out, I'm pretty sure you are too. Because I'm like, dude, I have no idea what that's like. Like, oh my God, I wouldn't. Like, I don't even know what I would do in that case. When they're like, yeah, man, I don't really want to start this stuff because I'm worried about these people causing problems with everything. And then guess what? They started doing their stuff. Nothing happened. Nothing. Like, that fear isn't real. We just think it is, which is the most fucked up part. Like, fear isn't real at all. What is it? False energy appearing real, or false something appearing real? I forget what the thing is for it. So moving on to this, right? So write down the actions that you're taking in your current day to determine where you'll end up in 5 years. Like, I shit you not. I will ask a person what their 5-year plan is. I'm like, where do you want to be in 5 years? And like, these are questions, just AKA dating advice. Start asking better, more complicated questions, and you'll get better answers. Like, stupid people can answer stupid questions. Don't ask stupid questions unless you want to meet stupid people. Like, I was stupid. So, yeah, that just goes to tell you. Like, ask more complicated, useful questions, and you're going to have a much better reality because you're going to realize that you're resonating with a high vibration conversation at that point in time. So, how do the actions you take tomorrow impact the 5-year road? Now, step 2, subconscious affirmations. We're talking about these in detail. When you go to sleep tonight, start by playing these affirmations over 8 hours of sleep. If you sleep less than 8 hours, awesome. The best thing to do for this would be, well, get a test to find out if you have genetics for shorter sleep duration. Some people do, some people don't. So you can get away with less sleep. But at the end of the day, what you're going to do is you're going to read Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker to find out whether or not you should decide to sleep less than 8 hours. But in this case, 45 to 66 days are you going to listen to these affirmation videos. Why? Because the book called The One Thing. You're going to learn about that and time blocking. That's a really important book. Next book, Habits of a Happy Brain. It's talking about neurotransmitters, how your brain works. You're only going to feel so much dopamine until you don't feel it anymore. And then you're going to have to run off of pure love for what you do. Waking up every single day and doing the same thing every day does not produce dopamine. Am I getting dopamine from this video? Maybe at some point in time. Probably not. But guess what? I'm going to do it anyways because of the message that I get from people that say, you've changed my life. Well, that's enough fuel to work until I die. Thank you very much. That's a fuel for the fire. I'm going to go burn more wood. So anyways, next thing, link to subconscious video right here. That is your link to the video that I've listened to that completely changed my life in ways and shapes and forms that I cannot even begin to express to somebody else. You will experience it if you do it. That is all I can say. That if you take this shit seriously, you will be like, whoa. Like, I was in a really bad place. This really helped me better understand. Like, I quit my job because I hated it. I literally gave this to somebody and they said, yeah, man, you're a crazy fuck. And I would have never taken this advice hadn't you been the one that suggested it to me. But I'm extremely thankful that you gave it to me. And 7 days later, they quit their job because they would show up to work and they're like, dude, I'm real pissed and angry. And I'm like, yeah, because you're somewhere that you don't love. You've realized that you've ended up somewhere in the world because you didn't love yourself. So now a being that is capable of anything and everything is now recognizing their true potential. And if I can teach you your true potential, you're going to teach somebody else their potential. And then that person's going to teach somebody else. And then we're all going to realize that everything that we've ever wanted is already here right now. Some people talk about like heaven. Yeah, shit's on earth. If that's real, it's right here, right now. You just haven't found it yet, or you haven't been confident enough to live it and believe it. So, last things we got here is time. So, think about this time, spend time reading books to understand the information I needed, the energy. This is a break off of where we were up here about like what I needed to do to reverse engineer. I just wanted to give you those books for that. So, time spent reading books I needed to understand the information. Energy, actions I took after reading the books with the informations that I gathered. Space, the byproduct of trusting myself enough to follow what I learned and was said in the books. So, you now understand how simple it is to understand time, space, and energy changed the entire course of my life. I put my time in the right place. I made sure that my energy was something that was generating me a positive, flowing, better version of the world. And by default, just by resonating around that positive energy, my entire life improved. Like, that's how it works. You just stop spending your time around useless things that teach you nothing. Like, here, watch. I'm going to prove uselessness to you right now while we're watching this live in front of you. I'm going to close my TikTok. I'm going to open my TikTok. I'm going to show you the first video. I don't even want to hear that, first of all. And it says, AI is here. We have two choices in business. Fear it, leverage it, to choose it. What? Yeah, that was real useful. Next video. Random person talking about trade over here. You want to learn trade? Go pay some of the trades. How much you learning right now? A kid poking fruit with chopsticks, not even using the chopsticks correctly. And then somebody out here running with their horse. Wow, I learned a lot. That's a waste of time. So you realize that space you're in is equal to the energy you have, explains the mass in the universe. I didn't learn anything. That just sucked my time and energy away from me and left me in a worse place. That's how it is. Nobody wants to feel left out, but once you feel, well, actually, how do I explain this? Nobody wants to feel left out, but once you realize that you're being left out from things that don't even matter in the first place, you'll kind of be happy. Like, I'm not mad that I've never watched Game of Thrones, or I couldn't even tell you what other TV shows trend. I'm not mad at that. Some people are like, "You've never saw that?" And I'm like, "What? No." Like my one good friend, he's got a good life. He's worked for his dad the whole time. He runs a concrete plant. Dude watches anime all day and movies, and he's like, "Bro, you got to watch this anime." And I'm like, "Don't got time, nor interest." And he's like, you don't know what you're talking about." And I'm like, "Okay, we just agree to disagree on that. I love him for what he does. He loves me for what I do. Fits together great." You always got to find one friend in reality where you can cut up on the universe, but make sure that that person that you're cutting up on in the universe is in a very good position, or you're just low vibration conversation cutting up on the universe. It's more like, dude, like, why do we meet these people that are insane crazy? Like, I don't know. So that's the SE equals EMC3 tattoo that I have. So it is now your turn to begin to change the world. I believe I'm free to discuss the S equals the MC3 tattoo. The space you're in is equal to the energy you have that explains the mass in the universe, and that mass can only be positive, negative, or neutral. This goes back to our conversation about unbalanced forces in straight lines. You must unbalance reality in order to create a better version of a new one. This unbalance will probably cause anxiety, but now we understand it's for expansion purposes. So these documents, they're all layering upon each other. So if you're watching this one and you didn't watch the other ones, and what I'm explaining didn't make sense, is because you didn't follow what you were told to do. That's why there's videos at the top of each page that says follow this information, because there's a very clear reason that I've applied it this way. Start you off with the littlest bit that I can, and then get more complex as time goes on. So you're here. You're still reading this. Okay, good. So, when choosing a problem to solve, choose something so real that you will spend the rest of your life trying to solve it. Like, I will spend the rest of my life trying to help people make more money in the world and solve their problems with food and mindset. That's still going to exist far beyond my death. So, I have successfully found something that's going to exist after my death, so I can move the needle forward maybe a little bit. Maybe the world will blow up and go away. Who knows? I don't care. But today, I'm doing this. And whatever happens tomorrow, awesome. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to figure out exactly what it is that I need to do, and I'm going to do it. For me, it was depression and anxiety. I thought of other people being depressed or anxious motivates me to get out of bed in the morning. Remember, at first, no one will care, but you must make them care. And that was actually said in the movie Moonfall, when someone's like, "No one will believe me." Make them believe you. Yeah, like I get up in the morning because I know other people have depression and anxiety, and I used to have depression and anxiety, and that life sucks so much. So that's my motivation. You'll begin to generate enough mass when you devote enough time to expressing your energy. This energy you have invested in will this energy that you have invested in will be emitted by the mass. Like, think about it. You're generating mass. Like, if you start doing something and you're willing to speak up and say some shit that other people know they're thinking, like, I know people are thinking like, "Man, all this food's garbage," but how many people are going to willing to be sitting up and speaking about it? Like, controversial stuff that everyone's thinking but nobody's going to say. That's why certain people become really renowned on the internet, because a lot of people are thinking shit and they're too afraid to say it because they don't want to be judged. But if you say shit without fear of judgment, congratulations, you're now free. Why else would we read books written hundreds of years ago? Like, think about it. Like, some people have written books hundreds of years ago. Like, all of my best friends are dead. Does that make sense? All my best friends would be people that have written books that are no longer here. So the space you're in is equal to the energy you have that explains the mass in the universe, and that mass can only be positive, negative, or neutral. So the last things I want to leave you with here is this. So now let me give you a clear understanding of how I use this process to create this company in less than 1 year and serve thousands of people. So the whole goal with this is lose money on the testing, at least for now, just so we can generate empirical evidence, gain money in other areas, aka have one business that can fund another business. We're not going to bore you with that. Before you start the idea, you should know everything about it. This means that you need to wait to start the idea and read books. Like, if I would have started, I would have been thinking, "Oh yeah, do the keto diet." Nope. Maybe if you have epilepsy and you're like really trying to lose weight, or you're like diabetic, like, you would have started with the wrong information had you not really just crossed your I's and dot your T's. You get it? Cross your I's, dot your T's. If you cross your I, it's a T. You dot your T, it's an I. It's the same thing. It's interchangeable. So you, or sorry, my bad. Here, read the books. The quality is more important than the quantity of the idea. Think about it this way: you can start a company and write diet plans. You can write many diet plans because that's a basic sale. Or you could start a company and write more complex diet plans. I had no idea that I was going to write complex diet plans until I started to understand more about people's individual needs. which I was lucky enough when I first started this company. We had 270 calls in like the first week, like the very first TikTok video that I ever made. I had like 270 calls. I had nothing to sell anybody. I had no idea what I was even going to be doing. I had no idea how to really compartmentalize my information and help. And here we are. It's amazing. It's literally amazing. So I had no idea when I first started, but all of the questions that I asked people, they gave me the answers. I said on my TikTok live, people read comments, I read them. I make sure that like somebody said, "What do you use to play these affirmations at night?" I know that person has never downloaded the Homeostatic Line nor looked into any of the information that I created. That's why they asked that question. So whenever I see that question, I tell them, "Hey, go to the resources." Because I value my time and energy, and I've already spent my time and energy answering their questions and way more information than they could ever use. Talk about a 2.5 hour video on a 17-page document type answers. Because many people were like, well, how do I start doing these things? Here's how you start doing it. Listen to your affirmations, meditate, start your timer, follow this information, and your life will change guaranteed. At least it worked for me. If it didn't work for you, you're the common denominator of failure. That's something that I wish somebody would have told me at one point in time. The only reason that what I'm teaching you doesn't work is because you didn't want it to work. And then you recognize, well, why don't I want this information to work? And you're like, oh, dang, it's self-defeating behaviors. Well, how do I work with my self-defeating behaviors? Oh, it takes time to love myself. Some shit that some people aren't willing to say, I guess. I don't know. Maybe people don't want you to understand what the secret is to success. It's like, yeah, we're just going to give them just enough information, but then never tell them how to really do it. So they have to sign up for coaching. I don't know. That's what it feels like sometimes, but I'm not going to get into the things that might not be true. So I had no idea I was going to start this stuff. So the homeostasis diet, how did it begin? I can't even tell you where the name came from, but I can tell you this. When I started learning about neurogenesis and BDNF, that's where all the solutions that's where all the solutions to all the world problems began to exist. Like people were not generating new brain cells in the memory and learning center, and they had lower levels of BDNF. And there's so much research behind sugar and BDNF that it's insane. Then I learned about the keto, and I thought that was the solution to all the world's problems. Like I was freaking learning things and being like, "Whoa, I never heard of this before. This must be the answer. Whoa, I never heard of this before. This must be the answer." Meanwhile, I never said any of this because you will get it wrong like 20 times before you get it right. And if you're starting something new that nobody else does, you will get it wrong multiple times. If you're doing something that somebody else is doing, you can't get it wrong. Like you cannot get it wrong. If you pick up the phone and say, "Hi, how are you doing? My name's Josh. I'm calling from Potato Patch Farms, and I was hoping I can have the opportunity to introduce myself and company to you." You got 45 seconds, and then you shut up. You can't get that wrong. You can't get that cold call wrong. "Hi, how are you doing? My name's Josh. I'm calling from Clowntastic Clowns. I was wondering if today was a bad day to talk about clowns." It's not hard. You can't mess that stuff up. "Hi, how are you doing? My name's Josh. I'm calling from the homeostasis diet. And I was wondering if today was a bad day to talk about writing the diet plan for the rest of your life." Like, come on. You can't mess up those things because they have been validated to work in reality, and they are just energetic frequencies that you can choose to exist on if you want. It's your choice. You choose. I began with the worst diet in the world, the smallest bank account, and probably one of the worst mindsets possible. This is why you see today we teach health, wealth, and mindset. You will become the best teacher of the things that you successfully learn to teach yourself. Like, oh, I know in a heartbeat I could easily go back to my old lifestyle if I wanted to. There are certain days, you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, why am I doing all this? And then you recognize, you know what? Because the amount of people's lives that I actually change. That's why. And that for me is the driving force. Other people, I get to change their life. Win win. My happiness is in their happiness. And then eventually, when you find a partner down the road, you'll be happy all the time. Like, I'm lucky to be single. I'm lucky to do all of this work. I'm lucky to have no distractions absolutely at all. And what you'll recognize once you like kind of start to protect your own energy, you're going to realize how many people just really didn't feel like investing in you. Like when someone's like, "I like you," and you're like, "I like you too." And then it just falls to shit. And then you're like, "What? Okay, great. Have a good day." So along this journey, I learned that type 2 diabetes can be reversed naturally. I had no idea this is even possible because all the information said you needed surgery or pills to manage the problem. Could you imagine how big it is to learn that something that is killing people and the main contributor to death was reversible naturally? Like, could you imagine that? Something that people are dying from could easily be reversed naturally. Sounds insane until you start to dive into the research. After I read a few books, that is when I really started getting into fasting because of the benefits that added to the brain because I was dumb as hell. Like, you want to know dumb? Me. Hell yeah. There's still some things I'm dumb about. Like, I don't know anything about TV. I'm like, yeah, what's that? No clue. Great. Who's this? No clue. So this was the kickstart to every change in my life. When I started fasting, the light bulbs turned on for the first time in my life. When I found that fasting was linked to depression and anxiety, I asked myself, what if this could be reversed naturally? I was convinced that you could reverse this naturally, and spent the next 2 years reverse engineering a research paper because it spoke of the same things that fasting improved in type 2 diabetes. Before this idea even existed, I had already spent 2 years reading and researching this specific paper, which is right there called The Hidden Mechanics of Depression and CBI. And then you can watch me spend 26 minutes reviewing an insane looking wall in my house. Might look insane until you learn about all of the information. That's why the health page has all of those topics, because I need you to be educated on those topics and read those books before you watch that video. Because if somebody's rolling around talking about gut microbiome health, host clock genes, BDNF, and the microbiome linked to interleukin cytokines, you might get a little bit lost. But if you understand what those are, you won't get lost. And then you become found. It's like Lost and Found. You're like, I don't know what any of that is. Like that, what's that scary movie where they're like, I don't know what the hell that is, but I like it anyways. Gross. So this is the wall that I wrote all the information on to better myself, and so how everything was connected. Might seem crazy until you properly educate yourself. So this will say, I'm just going to read over top of the rest of this. So you can read this stuff. I don't want to bore you anymore with this document. But this is how you know. This is how you know someone put in the work to really understand. Because as Einstein said, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it well enough yourself. So like, if I can't explain and break down these complex terms for a 6-year-old to understand them, I'm probably lying to you because I never did them myself. And that's what you got to realize. Like, if somebody is not really able to actually explain something, they've probably never done it before. That's why a lot of people I've learned in like online programs fail, like to the point where I'll play that another day. It's probably going to be on one of the other videos. I think I played it on one where somebody literally bought a program and then that person gave the login to somebody else's program because they failed and they said, well, maybe this will help you. And it was just nightmare type status. So like, I know for a fact that if anybody has problems with what I teach, that I can solve their problems like this. Because everything I teach is everything that I do, and I've already had the problems that they'll have. So I know exactly how to solve their problems. Someone's like, oh, should I start with the legal stuff here? No, you should probably start learning how to sell and get your first sale and then set up your legal stuff so you know that you can actually sell something and not just magically build an LLC because you think building an LLC is the right step. Nope. Find out if you're capable. And then if you realize you're capable, then set up your LLC and do all your legal stuff. But make sure that somebody else pays for that. So now let's see. We spent years reading books. We spent a few more years studying the grocery store shelves. We solved our own health, finance, and mindset problems. And now what? Create an idea, fail. Create another idea, fail again. I started doing private personal training and realized that driving to people's houses and watching them do push-ups was a horrible feeling. Fast forward to a few years, and now I have a full team of people who will transform a person's life on the internet. It's awesome, right? Personal trainer, a dietitian, a mindset coach. You see, at first I had no idea that problems existed. Once I became aware of the problems, I still really had no idea how to solve them. I just became aware that they were there. Saying that ignorance is bliss has so much truth that it's unreal. Like, if you don't know what your problems are and you're happy, awesome. Some people's problems are another person's perfection. Like, I love being this person. Like, that's a reality. So being aware of problems and not knowing how to solve them is absolute shit. It sucks. So some people live in their illusion because they fear the truth that they can solve the problems and become a better person that can do more in this world. So when I made my first TikTok video, it got millions because I introduced an idea that nobody's ever heard of before. Do you realize why this happened? Think about something that you know is a problem. Now think about how many people are not willing to speak up about this problem. You see, the solution is very simple. If most of the world was afraid to speak up about something that is definitely a problem, who is going to speak up? I spoke up and I will continue to speak up about the problems that I know that I have solutions for. That's a very important thing in this world. Do not talk about problems unless you have solutions, or you're wasting your time and everybody else's time involved. If you if you don't know the answers, don't present the problem. I'll tell you anybody. You bring a problem to somebody and you don't know the solution for it, and they have a consciousness, goodbye. Not interested. Why are you giving me a problem with no solution? You want me to help you figure out the problem? You're going to bring me a problem, you give me the solution. But if you have the solution and somebody's bringing you the problem, you better know how to solve it. So my advice to you is to understand the idea that you want to create. So does like 9,999 million other people want to create it as well. So what's the difference between the success and the failure? It's how much you actually know about what you know. This saying, I know what I know and I know what I don't know, is very important to follow. It's very important because you need to avoid something called Dunning-Kruger effect and delusions of grandeur. Many people will have this false, inflated version of reality. And if you do decide to make TikToks, and those TikToks do go viral, you will develop an ego. Because if this works, why would I stop doing it? Like if a person can sell their body online and it's making the money, why would they do anything else? It becomes an ego, it becomes a personality, and you need to be very clear about that personality because it is hard to lose. Think about Liver King of all people. That random guy on the internet that was telling everybody to eat all these cancerous levels of proteins that would dominate a person's kidneys. Oh, funny, funny. You can eat all that protein because you're on drugs. And that protein's not going to hurt you as much as somebody else. So people develop these egos. They have to live these lifestyles, and then bad things might happen. So once again, back to always telling the truth, being honest, and being fully transparent. That way, no matter what you do, you never have to look back because you know you never did anything wrong. So when someone comes in your life, it says you're doing this or you're doing that, I'm like, well, no, I'm not. Because I'm completely transparent with my life and I like to share a majority of things with other people. Some things in life you don't share, like they're personal. Like it's like no thanks. Like people are like, how much money do you make? Yeah, I'd like you to go walk in a business somewhere and then go ask that person how much money they make, and they're going to look at you like you're insane. Most of the people that take pictures with Lamborghinis and all these other things, these fancy houses, they don't own them. They just know that people that are not conscious are going to be like, I want that, and then click that. That's why I share nothing about my life, to make sure that the only people that come this way are people who truly wanted to change their life based on the information that they've received. Not some manipulation where I tell you that you're going to be able to have everything that you've ever dreamt of and wanted because I have it. You have to want it enough. You can't see a picture of a fancy person's car and think that that's going to be the driving force in motivation for you to be successful. That's why so many people fail. That's why so many courses don't work. That's why so many people say that things are a scam. It's because you were vetted into something based on a person having fancy clothes, a fancy car, and a fancy house. Because if you think that's what you need, you're lost. Because you can have it, cool. It means nothing. All you're going to do, based on all my friends that have fancy cars, bro, I'm not going there. I'm not taking my car there. I'm going to be stressed out. I can't have a car around here like that. People would key it in a heartbeat. Somebody's going to slash it. Somebody will blow out the window. It's real life. That's why people don't do certain things. Most people don't really care about that stuff. The people that do, awesome, cool. Get 5 clients. Charge them all $500 a month. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Congratulations, you can afford most car payments. It's that easy. You literally need 5 clients paying you $1,000 a month, and you have $5,000, and you can go buy whatever car you want. It's not that hard. It is not impressive. It is not a feat of strength. It is not anything. If anything, the people that use it in their advertisements are manipulating you. So please be very aware that the life that you want to create is in fact possible. But following some people that like to just tell you, oh, yeah, you're going to be able to do it. And it's going to be really simple. Just download this app on your phone. Yeah, right. So here's the last thing. I've lived in the illusions for the majority of my life, and it took me years to figure this out. Once you understand that there are unlimited possible possibilities, the fun begins. Now what? Remember, the space you're in is equal to the energy you had that explains the mass in the universe, and that mass can only be positive, negative, or neutral. Any and all ideas are created equal, and you are the mass that creates the unbalance in the idea. This unbalance will cause your idea to expand or contract. So, big takeaways from this document that I want you to understand. Okay? You can do anything, first of all, right? You can do absolutely anything. But you have to ask yourself, is this something that I want to do for the rest of my life? If it is, here's something that somebody told me. It's not going anywhere. Like they told me, they're like, just take a deep breath. They're like, this isn't going anywhere. Next year, there's going to be people that need help with health. Year after that, decade after that, there's always going to be people that need help. The ideas that you think you need to act on right now, where somebody says, ideas have a shelf life. Yeah, I mean, they do, but at the end of the day, if you're competing against somebody who does things wrong because they just wanted to start doing it right now, right? They're like, I need to do this and I need to do this now. Have fun, enjoy your finite game, because most businesses will fail because they're not built correctly. They don't get the things that they need to get to continue to grow into the future. There's like a simple little flow chart map that you can build for any business to be able to determine if it's going to be successful or not. And this is where you realize, like, when you find somebody that's in a better position than you and they look at what you're doing and you're like, I'm building a business. And they're like, you have an embryonic stage idea. Doesn't matter if it's made you 6, 7 figures. You still have an embryonic stage idea that might die. So my biggest takeaway for you for this is to educate yourself beyond everything that you see online, to the point when you watch something online, you're like, oh yeah, I remember reading about that and this, and this, and I understand that. And he could have said this a little bit better because now you become an authority in a specific area. And everybody that chooses not to read and educate themselves, that just wants to magically put themselves out there and start to talk about something that they learned yesterday, yeah, everybody that's in a really good position in reality realizes that person's speaking from a place of like, oh, wow, I remember reading my first book. So, whatever idea that you have, learn everything that you need to know about it and then go do it, because failure will be your greatest teacher, but there are different levels of failure. There's like failure like, oops, I didn't cold call anybody this month, versus I've cold called a ton of people, I've had a little bit of issues in my rebuttals here, and I only closed $20,000 worth of deals. So would you rather fail being the person that didn't have the correct information the first time around, or fail being the person that had the information, that was utilizing the information and still failing, because failure is a part of everything? So I hope you enjoyed this document. And guess what? There's another one down below, and that's going to be talking about the laws of motion. So, how, once we have our ideas, do we use the laws of motion to watch our ideas flow? Like, whatever the heck word you want to use right there. That's more or less just advertisements. Like, how do you divide yourself across time and energy? Well, it's pretty simple. You just spend money, and that divides you across the internet. And then, congratulations, you can exist in a gazillion other places. So I hope you enjoyed this document. As always, there's an ability to book a call down below. We hope those conversations are either about coaching, the gut microbiome test, nutrigenomics test, working with one of our coaches one-on-one, or joining the Reset Button program. Hope you enjoyed this document, and I will see you. Whoops, punched the mic over here. Sorry about that. I'll see you in the next video.